This young man, he wasn't lucky enough to be chosen by the tower to grant him skills, and of course he had no chance to participate in the bizarre mission to level up there. So Kim Gong had no choice but to sit in front of the TV feeling envious of the mighty Fire King, who was confidently chatting away while he looked up at the posters plastered all over the walls. The more he watched, the more he envied, shouting that he wanted to be like the Fire King. If only the Fire King's skills were his, how wonderful that would be. Oh, so it turns out the heavens really do have eyes. It wasn't the tower, but rather a skill card suddenly appeared with a bright green notification from the tower, surprising him with his envy and granting him a skill. It's true that you can't expect to get something without doing anything. Even though he had seen it many times on TV, Kim Gong still couldn't believe this was real. This was the moment he had longed for. Tears streamed down his face as he hurriedly reached for a skill of level S. He had to open it right away, but what the hell was this? I want to be someone like that. Level S, with an automatic effect that activates when killed by an enemy, allows you to copy a skill from the enemy that killed you and turn it into your own. You won't be able to copy from opponents you've copied from before. The copied skill will be chosen randomly, however you must die. Kim Gong was brought down from the clouds to hell, screaming in despair. What's the point of copying anymore? Feeling dejected and sad, the young man dragged his wrecked body like a useless person to a bar to drown his sorrows, downing a whole lot of alcohol. His head throbbed like crazy. Kim Gong stumbled out feeling dizzy, and then what the hell, he was met with the sight of his idol and a saint arguing in an alley. Believing that the saint had poisoned him and was preparing to assassinate him, the Fire King did not hesitate to strike and kill her in a sea of flames despite her desperate screams. Please, let's resolve this misunderstanding together. But he showed no mercy. Kim Gong, witnessing everything from the side, turned pale as a frog. Covering his mouth in fear, he witnessed a negotiation between someone wanting to kill and someone not wanting to be killed. A hero. This guy, a murderer, a psychopath. The young man hurriedly pulled up his pants and tried to run, but his legs wouldn't listen. Instead, he slowly fell down at the moment when his life was hanging by a thread. The Fire King then appeared from behind, saying, I thought I had cleared all the rats around here. So there was still one left, huh? Faced with death, even romantic words became meaningless. Kim Gong kept pleading for mercy, shouting that he saw nothing and wouldn't tell anyone about this. But what a coincidence, he appeared at just the right time and place running while calling for the Fire King. It made sense. If he were an idiot, he might have believed you. However, this was the Fire King, and he had won countless battles against demons, so of course not. Kim Gong desperately told him to use a lie detection skill to check, but how unfortunate it was. The Fire King had no idea what it was. He stabbed the saint simply because he felt a bit suspicious. And of course it was better to kill mistakenly than to let someone go. Kim Gong became a wisp of smoke under the Fire King's hand. The last thing he heard was his name, Joshua. He thought he had kicked the bucket and was now on the altar eating naked chicken. Little did he know, a bright green notification appeared. You have died. The conditions for the skill to copy have been met. Randomly copy Joshua's skill. Please choose a skill card. Kim Gong in a daze couldn't believe he had passed away. His feet felt cold as he reached out in front of him to grab a golden card, then opened his eyes to find himself back in a room, panicking and looking around. Kim Gong was hazily unsure that he had left. His cold feet stretched out as he reached for a golden card, and then he opened his eyes, startled to find himself back in the room looking around in panic. The familiar scene on TV was broadcasting an interview with the Fire King from yesterday, and the messages in the chat group were all identical down to the last detail. Kim quickly gathered his thoughts and opened the skill card to check it out. One was the most useless skill of the century, and the other was a skill he had copied from the Fire King, a resurrection skill that automatically activates when you die. You would return 24 hours before your death with your memories and experience points preserved upon your return. However, the higher your level, the greater the penalty. Now Kim was gathering his thoughts. He understood the secret to becoming a legendary hunter of the Fire King and why he had killed the saintess. It was because he had truly been poisoned by the saintess the day before, and now furious that he had also been killed by her, he could hear the overly confident words of the Fire King playing on the TV. This only made the hatred for that bastard grow stronger. Just then, outside, a loud explosion suddenly occurred, and everyone rushed to grab buckets and put out the fire. It turned out the time had come for the men to be skewered by the Fire King. This was a different city from the outside world. It was built by those who entered the tower to become hunters. This city was known by many names like Babylon, the first floor city, or the City of Death, but essentially they were all the same because once you set foot in it, you couldn't step out. The residents were already accustomed to situations like this, so they found nothing strange about it. However, the fire was spreading more and more, and the one responsible for this fire was still acting nonchalant as if nothing had happened. He appeared cool and said some nonsense as if he didn't care. He pretended to be eccentric, but no one knew what his true nature was. Besides Kim Gong, the Fire King was a cold-blooded killer, and at that moment only one thought crossed his mind. He had to deal with him for humanity, for the honor of hunters, and so Kim Gong threw himself into the sea of flames, dying painfully, believing this was the only way to make that monster disappear from the world. A notification appeared. "You have died. You will return 24 hours before with no penalty for using the skill." Oh, so even a useless F-rank hunter had an advantage. Thanks to that, the young man didn't face any penalties at all. Kim Gong sat in deep thought for a while. Currently, eliminating the Fire King was impossible. Even if he got lucky and skewered him, he would still return 24 hours before because he also possessed the resurrection ability. The only way for a low-level hunter like him to hunt him down was 11 years ago. On the 7th of June, the day he first awakened. Counting from today, that was 4050 days. So a spark of inspiration flashed in his mind. He just needed to die 4050 more times. That way he could return before the brat awakened. Saying it and doing it, Kim Gong immediately stabbed himself in the heart, a death that was not painful at all. And so, continuous notifications of "you have died" appeared, making him more and more excited. The feeling of dying had made him ecstatic, so the kid died 30 more times than the original plan, and finally Kim Gong achieved it. He returned to the time before the epic of the Fire King began. He had endured all that time just to prove that the epic of a monster like him was not eternal. 11 years ago, on the 6th of May, he followed the trail to track the Fire King to devise a perfect plan. He repeated it 10 times without any failures. Every morning at 9 a.m., he woke up in the F-rank dormitory. At 3 p.m., he went hunting slimes on the second floor of the hunting area. When the Fire King was 21, he was just an F-rank hunter. Wanting to change his life, he gradually realized that just hunting slimes wouldn't get him anywhere. So he took a risk and went to a hunting area that new hunters rarely visited. Kim Gong had been waiting for a long time. As soon as he spotted his prey, the young man immediately transformed himself into a bloody mess, pretending to be attacked by a pack of wolves. Trembling, he ran towards him, begging for a potion. The Fire King was furious that someone had interrupted his hunt. He scowled and pointed his sword at Kim, shouting, "How much will you pay me for that potion? My hunt today has been ruined, and now I have to give away an expensive potion for free to a stranger I just met. Have you no shame?" But what shame was there at this point? So he reached out to grab it, saying he would pay 20 gold, the market price. However, this greedy bastard wasn't satisfied. He demanded 40 gold because the life of his opponent was in danger. Oh wait, he wasn't done yet. The Fire King grabbed the collar of his shirt and threatened, "Give me everything you've got or else. You want to give it to me, but your hands can't move. Don't worry. I'll help you get that measly 60 gold from that poor monkey in front of him." He was still not satisfied and was thinking about how to turn the tables. Fearing that the opponent would come back for revenge, he struck quickly. Thinking it would be an easy win, the Fire King charged in to attack, but things turned out badly for him. So he immediately pulled out his sword and directly cut his throat. The Fire King, not understanding what was happening, was suddenly stabbed and died without leaving a word. In the end, aside from a gasp to prevent the 1 in a million chance that the opponent might wake up, men rushed in to stab him a few more times. To make sure he left nothing behind, Kim Gong was still furious, cursing him as a cold-blooded killer while pretending to be a knight in a duel. Sacredly pretending to be righteous after killing so many innocent people to clean up the evidence. Men brought the Fire King's body for the wolves to devour and changed into a clean outfit he had prepared, then walked out of the tower, passing the guards as if nothing had happened. It seemed like everything had come to an end, and no one knew what had just happened. Kim Gong happily returned to the bar to celebrate his recent achievement. Opening the skill check state, men realized that he didn't have a single combat skill and began to think about how he could get rich. With his current skills, an ordinary old man from Bin Duong, tall, dark, and wearing a mismatched suit and red sneakers, suddenly appeared. He ordered a glass of vodka with sugar and hot milk in a very eccentric way, causing everyone around to start discussing his appearance because he was the Sword King. And he was involved in a scandal for refusing to hunt on the 10th floor as requested by the Hunters Association. Kim Gong struggled to piece together his chaotic memories. The Sword King's real name was Michael Scullenberry. He had gone missing and was completely forgotten by the time of Kim Gong until the Fire King named Joshua appeared, making a name for himself and becoming a legend. Looking at the old man, he felt really pitiful for such a legend. Surely he must possess some powerful skills, not something as pathetic as his own. Suddenly a thought crossed Men's mind. With his useless skill, if he got stabbed by any hunter, he could copy their skills, even that of the #1 hunter in Korea, Kim Gong. He went online trying to find useful information to provoke the Sword King, but most of it was just rumors. While he was busy searching, the old man suddenly started talking to himself, making men jump in surprise, thinking he can't really be talking to himself, can he? Or maybe he was so strong that it affected his personality. After rummaging around, Men's attention was caught by a warning about things not to say in front of the Sword King. That was to ask about his descendants. It sounded ridiculous, but it also made sense and was worth a try considering he could die countless times anyway. So he decided to ask right after the Sword King left. Kim Gong followed closely behind him, almost losing track of him, but luckily his sharp eyes spotted the old man's figure, and he eagerly trailed behind. He felt like he was about to become #1 in the world, mumbling to himself, "The Fire King has an S-rank skill, but what does this old man have the leader of the previous generation?" Just as he was enjoying himself, he suddenly got caught while stalking, leaving Kim Gong dumbfounded, not knowing what to do next. The Sword King, weapon in hand, approached to interrogate him. "What do you want from this old man, huh? Your actions are quite good, but I thought a top assassin like you would be better than this." The more Kim Gong heard, the more confused he became. "Wait, hold on. What do you mean, assassin? Congratulations, you don't need to provoke him about his descendants. You don't want to die at his hands again." The young man trembled and stepped back, trying to explain that it was all a misunderstanding and he was just passing by. "I'm not stupid. I'm the legendary Sword King. Do you think you can outsmart me?" To save his life, Kim Gong tried to explain that he wasn't a killer, just a regular guy who got lost. However, the more he talked, the angrier the swordsman became, claiming he had skills to determine that. One skill allowed him to see the number of people they had killed, and at that moment he realized that even though he had a valid reason, a murderer was still a murderer. So there was no way to justify that. Perhaps he saw the #1 above Kim Gong's head again, trying to salvage the situation. He sincerely shouted, "I understand, but please let me explain. I really have a valid reason for this number." "I swear on my life there's nothing like that." The old man took off his hat seriously and approached, ready to strike at a demon who had killed countless people like him. "And you dare to swear on your life? I may not be a clean person, but at least I'm not a cold-blooded killer who treats human lives like trash like you." At that moment, question marks floated above his head. What the hell is going on? I only killed one person. Is this old man crazy or something? To keep the kid from wondering, the swordsman then revealed the truth, glaring at Kim Gong. "Don't you feel ashamed of these lies? The number of people you've killed is not just one, but 4,091. Kim Gong suddenly realized, oh no, I stabbed that bastard Joshua and stabbed myself 4,090 times. From his perspective, I'm a cold-blooded killer who has taken 4,091 lives. This isn't just about copying skills anymore. That swordsman will kill me. As soon as he sees me, he will kill me." Kim Gong was terrified, running away in despair, feeling truly scared, but his legs were a bit short. He barely took a few steps when the opponent's sword was already at his throat, and he fell flat on his face, scared, curling up in a corner, hearing him mutter to himself. He interpreted that as telepathy, sharing information with others, and Kim Gong became even more frightened, thinking he would become a target hunted by the Hunter Association, and would be hunted by bounty hunters and high-level guilds until executed on the first floor of the tower. He couldn't let that happen. Kim Gong decided he needed to die right now. And so, playing the fool, he asked about the old man's grandchildren and family, but before he could finish his sentence, the kid only felt a chill at his neck and his body said goodbye to his head. Looking at the upside-down face in the distance, greed rose within him. He wanted to be like him, standing at the pinnacle of fame, wielding the sword of a master. Finally, he could die and gain the skills of 2 top-tier hunters. After some deliberation, Kim Gong prayed while reaching for a skill card, hoping for another chance to change his life. But there were no gold cards, only 3 crappy cards and 4 silver ones, well better than nothing. He just hoped not to get the skill of counting kills, but to get a skill that would help him succeed. Kim Gong returned to 24 hours ago. As soon as he opened his eyes, he immediately opened the hunter status. To check right away, luckily it was a skill A+, but it was just another passive skill. How boring. The kid plopped down on the bed, lamenting about life, wishing for a martial arts skill or something to awaken his aura. While lost in thought, he heard something mumbling in his ear, so he quickly turned to politely ask the old man next to him who he was. Truly young people. FA is different. Seeing a stranger in the house without panicking, he even approached to eavesdrop. The red-haired guy was quite surprised to see him turning back with a bewildered expression. "Can you see me and can you hear me?" He boldly looked at him confused and replied, "Yeah, I guess so. Because you and I are having this conversation. The opponent now felt something strange. Looking around the tiny room, he couldn't believe it and wondered where on earth he was and where Marcus was. Kim Gong suddenly realized something and quickly opened the newly acquired skill to check, only to find out he was a ghost who had wiped out the tower of that world. He made it to the 99th floor but failed at the 100th because he couldn't let go of his earthly desires, becoming a soul that couldn't interact physically with anything in this world. But he could communicate with the one holding this skill. Man felt a bit guilty and explained in detail to the stranger. "I'm sorry, but I accidentally copied you," and as soon as he heard that, he was completely shocked, shouting to get his ass back to the Sword King right now. "You can copy me with your skill, right? Then you can probably destroy it too, right? You don't know how to revert it." Everything should have been reverted immediately. The two strangers suddenly bumped into each other, both panicking and screaming, but still couldn't find a way to resolve it. The guy was crying like a little kid. So much so that anyone who heard had to shout for silence, cursing this stupid disciple. "Your master is being kidnapped by a brat. This happened because my foolish disciple didn't respect his master's words. I told him not to follow in my footsteps." He kept talking non-stop to the point where I had to tell him to please live in silence, but just as he finished saying that, the kid argued back. Live in pain, I've already died." "Okay, then please die quietly, would you?" It turned out that the Sword King's talking to thin air was because of this noisy guy. Kim Gong not only had to hide from the Sword King, but also received this stupid, foolish skill. Talk about bad luck. The bored young man told the guy about being killed by his disciple and the reason for having 4091 lives hanging over his head, along with the shabby skill he had. After learning that men had committed suicide and returned 11 years to take revenge on some guy. The old man found this kid quite interesting, so he told him to stand up so he could check him out. He said that he would get better with some training, because at least he had enough perseverance and ambition. At least it wasn't too bad. And then to test men's combat ability, he told him to stab some monsters for him to see to build trust. He explained that he was born in another world. And there was a tower of roses there. He quickly climbed to the top, and when he reached his level, he could assess abilities in an instant, the ability to become a hunter. And that's why he wanted to see him hunt. After observing the young man handle a bunch of slimes, he declared that he was a person with potential and infinite potential. Kim Gong scratched his head bewildered. He told him not to praise him anymore. He knew where he stood, but the guy sincerely said that he had no talent for martial arts. His movements were clumsy, his body untrained, and he didn't even feel his own aura, but he had a talent that no one else had. He doesn't seem to fear death at all. Usually people instinctively protect themselves when they fight, but this kid lacks that instinct. He might have disappeared after dying over 4000 times. Talent isn't something you're just born with. Anyone can develop it throughout their life. And one of the hardest things to overcome is facing the fear of death. It's truly surreal, like a Spanish illusion, making you wonder if not fearing death is a talent in itself. It's hard to believe, really. No one has ever told Kim Gong anything like that. When asked about his thoughts on death, he honestly replied that he thought it was beautiful. Finding this kid quite interesting, the old spirit excitedly laughed, confirming once again that Marcus still has another version of himself. It's the guardian spirit, right? Then confidently stated that he wanted to see how this kid becomes a great hunter and that he would help him until he could stand strong against Marcus, not just to stand up to him, but to surpass him. Let's conquer this tower together. The next day, before the rooster even crowed, and while the dog was still asleep, the old spirit was making a ruckus in every way to wake him up, constantly chatting away without pause. It took a minute for the kid to cover his ears, suffering in silence, overwhelmed by this hyperactive old man. Kim Gong finally had to give in, picking up his phone to check the time and yelling out, "Damn it, it's only 4 a.m. This old man is crazy." I was wondering how the Sword King could wake up at 4 a.m. every day. It turns out it's not because he's diligent, but because he keeps getting disturbed while he's sleeping. Hit right in the feels, the guy was furious, ready to spit blood in response. I woke you up because I was bored. Are you happy now? Not stopping there, he laughed mockingly when the kid said he wanted to kill him. I've already died, so you can't kill me if you have a problem with that. Why don't you just kill yourself then? Oh, right. You can't even die, huh? Aha, I've got it now. From now on, I'll call you Zombie Kim. They say one understanding is worth 10. This old spirit can talk 100 times without ever shutting up, even during training. Even when he was exhausted and out of breath, the old man kept rambling beside him. It's been 4 days since Kim Gong copied the Sword King's skills. He skewered Joshua once again since then, and avoided the Sword King as much as possible. Now he had to follow a strict training regimen set by the old spirit to gain enough strength to conquer the challenges ahead. In the material world, potential determines consciousness, and it feels like he's in a black lake, so the old spirit suggested that whatever it is making money comes first. A little initial capital is needed, so they decided to play the lottery, and of course with the kid's skills, winning the jackpot was a sure thing. The two quickly got their butts moving. They withdrew their names at Sangryun to claim their prize. Their official name is the Merchant Union, led by a renowned hunter, Kaltes, the only one with the skill that allows trade with the outside world. And Sangryun is also the only place in Babylon that sells lottery tickets, so to avoid danger, Kim Gong boldly announced that he had won. The prize was revealed to the public. Because if the winner gets attacked, the one who suffers the most is Sangryun, as the jackpot winner is treated very warmly by the manager Arthur Taylor. Normally, a person with an F rank like him would never even dream of talking to a businessman, but today is different looking at the 50,000 gold in front of him. He couldn't believe his eyes with that amount of money. He could live a comfortable and leisurely life for the rest of his days. If that was his goal, then he had definitely achieved it. But since I decided to conquer this tower like a hunter, money is just paper that can fly away. It's just a small stepping stone on the path to becoming a great person. So I've seen a shade of yellow that's even more beautiful than this pile of gold. Previously following the manager's guidance, I had asked Sang to keep this money for me. And I bought an honorary membership in Gyut. It's not just a group of friends going hunting together. The main reason to join Gyut is that they want protection. This is quite a wise and intelligent decision. Having protectors and hunters is essential, but life is too wild if there are only those two types of people. Additionally, I asked the old manager to arrange for me a better place to rest than that tiny rented room. Along with that, I instructed that if any news agency inquired about the winner, they could tell them it was an honorary member of Sangreal who died 4000 times and returned 400 days in the past. I couldn't enjoy it before because I was too focused on revenge, and now is the time for me to savor it, resolving my feelings and getting ready to train like every day. According to the old spirit, there are 2 ways to increase strength. One is to use the Luan books to learn martial arts skills, and the other is to use potions to enhance physical abilities. But with my level, even if I read tons of Luan books, it wouldn't make a difference, so I only have the option of using potions. Following the old spirit's guidance, they will go to a pharmacy considered the best around here. With the price of each potion sky high, all of my current assets are only enough to buy 4 potions. While casually walking down the street, suddenly the old man slammed the brakes and shouted for me to run before things got worse. It turns out this is the shop that the Sword King frequently visits, and he is also on his way there. Seeing the figure of the old man who once skewered me, I still felt scared and hid behind a trash can, luckily not getting caught. Otherwise, he would skewer me again. The old spirit worriedly sighed. This is bad if he comes here. So is he planning to buy all those potions? Hurry up, follow me! Watching the Sword King enter, both of us felt heartbroken tears streaming down our faces. It would be terrible to share a shop with the Sword King, but there are no shops in the top 20 around here, not even in the top 100 or 300. After thinking for a while, I came up with something. I confidently said that they wouldn't have to spend as much money as the old spirit said and could still get quality potions from a decent alchemist. To get what I needed, I led the old teacher deep into the slums to search for the alchemist. The old spirit seemed skeptical of what the kid said about a talented alchemist. What genius could possibly live in a place like this? Stop exaggerating. There's no genius living in a place like this. Ignoring him, I continued deeper inside while the thugs on the street were trying to see if I had anything to rob. But they gave up when they saw me talking to myself like a madman. It would be too sad for them if they knew I had a large sum of money in my pocket. They would be regretting it. After wandering around for a while, I finally found the place I needed, but in front of me was a brawl. The female alchemist couldn't pay off the debt she borrowed 6 months ago, so all her belongings were confiscated, begging for mercy, but their answer was no, never. Witnessing this scene, everyone around seemed too familiar with it, and not a single person stepped in to stop it. They were whispering that the shop was small but overpriced. Everyone around seems too familiar with it, and not a single person steps up to stop it, just whispering and gossiping about how the shop is small but overpriced. She's trying to justify that she's not overpriced, that she's a quality drug seller with the best prices in this Babylon tower. They should be grateful that her shop is located in a place like this. The old elf looked at the girl in front of him with suspicion, waiting for everyone to disperse. So he approached her and asked, "Excuse me, are you still open for business?" "If you're still open, I plan to order a few things, probably something a bit pricey, around 20,000, the girl in front of him said. It's not about being crazy or a failure. In the future, she would be a 5th-ranked alchemist and become the leader of the alchemist's castle if she could connect with a couple of higher ranks later on. So she would definitely have an advantage. This would be a golden goose in the future." With that dark intention, he transformed himself into her #1 customer by proposing an order worth 20,000, a huge order she had never seen before. The girl was old. Kim was a bit incredulous at the reality that one day a VIP customer would come looking for her. The girl hesitantly led him inside the shop to discuss, but this place was quite messy due to the ruckus caused by some thugs earlier. The opponent confirmed again that Kim agreed to pay him 20,000 gold up front. When getting to the main point to make her believe what he said, he suggested paying that amount in advance from his savings account, just needing to keep a balance of around 20,000. Because his money wasn't unlimited, the core issue had been resolved, and they quickly moved on to the main content, but beforehand the pharmacist reminded him that she would refuse any illegal drugs no matter how much he offered. Even though her pharmacy business was in trouble, she still had the courage to refuse 10,000 gold. Looking at her, she seemed like a mess, but she was definitely fit to become a master alchemist. Of course, who would ask her to make illegal drugs? Based on what he heard from the young elf, he began to state his demands. "I'll explain this to you just once. The liver of a pig rabbit, the eyes of a cat, the skin of a giant desert worm, blah blah, and finally the tail of a land lizard, totaling 23 ingredients." Based on this formula, she quickly stated the effects of combining them, which was to create an effect that increased the user's reaction speed. It was an extremely advanced formula, created by mixing all the ingredients together at once instead of refining each one. The expertise of a specialist began to shine through as she rattled off a bunch of effects. The side effects and all that blah blah left the old elf dumbfounded in amazement, and before he could finish his sentence, he jumped in to ask when he would get the product. After learning it would be 4 days, Kim Gong was even more delighted, recalling that in the past, he might have to wait years to get medicine from a top alchemist, so 4 days was nothing for him. A few days later, while he was dazedly admiring the house provided by Sang Ryun, unexpectedly, she brought the medicine to him earlier than expected, which included 3 boxes each containing 30 vials, enough for about 30 days. Worth 15 times more than the shop suggested by the elf guard, he eagerly received the goods, and the girl couldn't help but curiously ask him why he placed such an expensive order for an unknown pharmacist like her. The reason? Because the pharmacist standing in front of him was one of the genius generation, but he couldn't say that to her. And that wasn't the only thing. She was also the one who rushed to the scene of the fire caused by the Fire King before, faster than anyone else when the city was burning, to save those inside. Moreover, she was someone who wasn't intimidated by the Fire King when she realized he was anything but ordinary. Her skills were kind, and she even had a good personality. Wouldn't it be a huge loss not to become close to someone like that? To answer her question, he simply calmly said that it was because she looked very kind. The young ones are still lying, bragging that good hunters like them must succeed. It's so frustrating to see those crazy lunatics actually succeed. And you want both of them to have the best, yet those silly words of yours somehow make her believe it, which is just strange. She told the kid that they must succeed to change the world, and whenever he wants to add something, just call her. She'll always prioritize his requests. Listening to these two talk makes the elf feel something. What a ridiculous claim that good hunters like us are just making excuses. The next day, to practice, the two of them went to the 3rd hunting floor to skewer the monsters as per the teacher's request, gulping down the potion without even tasting the sweetness on their lips. His head was pounding like crazy, feeling like it could explode, as if he could count every hair on his head, and even the sweat falling felt very vivid. That's the effect of the potion. It increases the rate at which the user perceives reality. The elf began to explain something that revolved around his heart. It's called aura. It exists within every hunter when they enter the tower. Most of them are unaware of it, but you can control this aura freely. It will be a decisive factor. Usually you will feel a flow in this state. But it will take a long time if you lack talent. At the very least, you need to practice hard. While explaining, the elf suddenly laughed eerily and shouted, "Run, Zombie Kim, if you don't want to get your ass kicked." It was such a coincidence and a surprise that he quickly turned around and, oh my God, a gigantic brain monster appeared and the elf floated beside him, calling out to Kim Gong to unleash his aura to attack, saying that brains are pack animals. They're low level, and their attacks are quite simple, making it easy to read their movements. Just focus the aura in your calves, but what can a loser like you do? How can you do that monstrous thing? Under the teacher's teasing, the kid poured all his strength into running. Although he could see the attacks coming, his body couldn't fight back thanks to the potion. So he managed to dodge a few basic attacks, calmly standing still, trying his best to regulate his aura, then pulled out a dagger to counterattack the enemy, jumping up to stab directly into the monster's skin. But this thing was quite thick and hard, so at that moment he couldn't pierce it. He continued to focus the remaining aura into the dagger, channeling it all into the blade and stabbing deep into the monster. Finally, his persistence and effort yielded some results. The monster felt its legs cold, but Kim Gong also felt quite a painful force due to not clearing the path properly. The aura was right, but it was still much better than before. At least he had activated the aura, but the pain was overwhelming. He collapsed, unable to bear the feeling as if something was about to explode from within, regardless of his brother still writhing in agony. The teacher beside him kept rambling on, and he felt pain just wanting to die, right? Then you just need to die. If you didn't have this skill, I wouldn't have suggested this teaching method, old man. Marcus always meditates after taking the potion. He doesn't dare to use his body recklessly like you do, but you just need to die to come back. It's easy, right? Oh, how envious. Because your score will increase if you commit suicide, then. Just let the monster behind take care of itself. You've already been able to use aura on your first try. At this rate, I think about 100 more times should be enough. Every step will be a journey, so this will be the first time, okay? This is the first time starting anything. And just like that, bam, Kim didn't even have time to gather his thoughts before a monster from behind struck him down instantly, just before turning back to the 24 hours that would be spent waiting in the outside world for a few minutes. To execute the skill transaction in a strange way, the corpse of the elf also came along with him here. Now that's something. Just when both were puzzled, a bright green notification appeared. The activation conditions for the skill were met. The monster's skill would be randomly copied. Please select a skill card. What the hell is this? The two of them read it, and their eyes widened in shock, screaming out loud. Monsters have skills too. What the hell is this? This is a hacking skill. I want this skill too. Who the hell is monitoring this tower? Why would they give this divine skill to a loser? With this, I'm not a great hunter like I used to be, so used to the noise from the teacher that I didn't bother explaining much, reaching out to grab a skill card. But was immediately stopped by the old man who could see the back of the cards and read which one was the best, since they could float in space. Excited, I shouted for him to tell me what they were so I could hack the best skill in his eyes, which he thought was extremely powerful. Even as a child and a bit older, I still had my keen insight specifically. First was the reproduction blessing card, allowing you to give birth to 9 kids at once without getting tired. However, you would feel energized all year round. The second was wick, which always added win at the end of sentences. I don't know why they do that, but you should start saying chi wick too. It's so fun. You'll never escape the joy of saying it. Wick, where are you, immortal Wick? Both of these cards are trash, but at least getting Wick is better than the reproduction blessing. I won't let the teacher stop me from rambling on. So I quickly grabbed it and returned to 24 hours earlier. The old elf, after returning from the outside world, felt really tired. He pleaded with me to practice by sitting in meditation instead of farming monsters. It hurt so much he swore, promised, and guaranteed that he would help me control it. Aura in half a year, but it's too late, teacher. Once a young man decides, he must follow through. I took a sip of the potion and confidently stepped forward. Do you know, King? You call me zombie when you're at the top door and call me Gong family when you're at the bottom door, and soon you'll have to call me Gong family. I will truly make you realize that you can fix it. The habit of confronting the monster in front of me made me almost used to its movements, and soon I easily approached and shouted quit like an instinct of my kind, and sent it back to its ancestors in no time. The old elf beside me witnessed everything and felt indignant for the monster angrily shouting to remind me to reconsider. Damn it! You're a cheater! Did you know this would happen? Do you feel happy tricking an innocent monster like that? Is it fun? Why don't you put yourself in the monster's position and see how it felt at that moment? Innocent monsters in this world will be tortured. By a cunning person like you, it's driving me crazy. Oh, Tower, why did you give a cheating skill to this bastard? Responding to the chatty teacher, I smiled confidently, assuring him there's no need to complain, just follow my lead. We need to clear out this 4th floor. A week later, with my game hacking skills, I easily cleaned up the 5th floor with just 6 special accounts. Moreover, thanks to my relentless efforts, my existence as a young man was recognized. And finally, you leveled up from F to E. Kim Jong-gu savored this moment happily because as a hunter, this was the first time he experienced it. The old spirit looked at the kid puzzled, wondering if it was fire or blood earlier. It was really confusing. He thought the guy was rambling, but based on his experience of clearing 99 floors, he said it's not just to make people level up cooler, but it's also an omen. When leveling up, there will be effects that serve as a sign of the aura shape in the future. For example, the Fire King's aura is fire, and the shape of the aura usually appears at the moment of life and death, which isn't a pleasant memory at all. It exists like a form of subconsciousness. Looking back at earlier, you could guess it was fire or blood or something. That makes sense, so I was curious and asked him what the aura shape of the Sword King was recalling. It was moonlight when that old man got lost in the mountains when he was young. Not wanting to die, he crawled to the mountain peak. He said the moonlight beautifully cleared the sky and he wanted to shine by embracing the sunlight like the moonlight. He thought that way when he was only 12 years old, and he cherished that moment until now. After hearing the story, I couldn't help but exclaim, feeling deeply moved. Indeed, the Sword King is different. He's not an ordinary person. After chatting, the spirit immediately invited the kid to go up to the 6th floor to continue fighting, but surprisingly, he suggested we raid the 10th floor right away. A crazy idea for a newbie, and of course the teacher disagreed. However, Kim Gong-ra was quite confident. The young man proposed a bet if he couldn't clear the 10th floor in 2 lives, he promised to call the teacher master. But if he succeeded, the teacher would have to call him Gongjunim as a superior with the condition that the old man would reveal to him the skills that the boss on the 10th floor possessed. Sounds tempting. But can we trust this kid who hacks? The spirit fell silent, thinking for a while, feeling it was quite shady, but with his competitive nature, he agreed immediately when provoked by the kid. Saying he was scared and could back out, he bet Kim Zombie was ready to serve his master for life. You won't be able to clear the new floor, right? You can't die and call me master for life. Kim Gong-ra wasn't backing down either. He grinned mischievously, telling the old man to get ready to call him Kim Gong-nim. However, those who couldn't see the spirit thought the kid was going crazy talking to himself. To settle the bet, the two quickly made their way to the 10th floor to carry out the mission. But going alone, he was stopped by the gatekeeper who said hunting alone would be pointless, and how could he bear to let a fool go to his death? So think again about this absurd situation. The old spirit urged the kid to just punch him in the face and charge straight into the 10th floor. However, who would be that foolish? At the very least, you should use your head to think faster than light, take out some money, stuff it into his hands, and start the psychological manipulation with bribery. I know you're thinking well of me, and what you said is very true. In fact, I really wanted to die a year ago when my wife left this world. Not long ago, the doctors diagnosed me with terminal cancer, saying I only had 6 months left to live, but I truly can't imagine living without my partner by my side. But after everything, no matter how weak I feel, I'm still a hunter. Instead of wasting my remaining days in a hospital bed, I genuinely want to contribute. With my last strength for my country. This is the money I've saved for my treatment. Please take it. People come and go like dust. I don't want to leave anything behind in this world, so please, I ask you to manage it. Please don't record my name as someone who came here. This is my final wish as a hunter. It's truly a chilling story that thanks to a bit of money and my charm, I managed to successfully enter the 11th floor. Originally, this place was supposed to be cleaned up by that Yasuha, but now it's all in the past. DM, now I will write a legend even better than the Fire King Kim Gong. I've always wondered why among all the different hunters, only the Fire King could clear the 11th floor so easily, and to answer that question, the young man verified it himself. The gate to the 10th floor of hell opened, revealing a sea of dolls drowning in half of hell, constantly inviting him. Players, come play with me. Make them happy. The mission on this floor is to find out who is the real one in this mansion. Identify the real puppet and destroy it. No matter how much aura you wrap around yourself as a shield, you can only survive in this fire for 10 minutes, but for a hunter. Using fire aura, it shouldn't be too hard, and that's why Isuha easily passed this round. He cleaned it up without a trace, even though he had already kicked the bucket 3 times, but they still hold a grudge, constantly reminding everyone of that jerk's arrogance. As the first person to clear the 10th floor, the teacher suggested there are 2 ways to complete this floor. One is to test your luck by finding the real puppet, or use your aura wisely to survive long enough to find it. It really is just like a game. Nothing useful came from arguing. Finally, just as my aura ran out in the last 10 seconds, the young man randomly chose one, but it turned out to be a lucky guess. The puppet kept saying, "Not me, not me," and slowly faded away, meaning the young man was also burned and kicked the bucket, falling into the outside world with a random notification skill copied from Hellfire Monster. My den appeared just as the young man predicted. The old spirit didn't even need to look through the leveled cards. He immediately pointed to the golden card of Hellfire Shield and chose it right away. It can create a fire aura with a radius of 2 kilometers around it. No one can leave the area without the owner's permission, but you need to be inside the shield. Seeing the kid still standing out there, the old man hurriedly urged him, "It must be it! Choose it quickly!" Although it's a boss, it still has an S-rank skill. Just imagine Hellfire will appear with just a snap of your fingers, but the young man didn't think that way. He felt something was off. There was something unsettling in his heart, feeling heavy as the doll suddenly melted away. The young man asked the old man to read the other skills. "Show me the cards, one by one." The attention of the young man hit the last one. It allows the owner to designate living objects within the aura. Not being burned, Kim Gong felt strange from the start. A puppet among thousands of others with fire aura wouldn't be burned like the others. So this was the answer. Ignoring the teacher's advice, he took the golden card to create Hellfire immediately. Everyone would be mesmerized by his divine appearance. But they still insisted on choosing that skill card. Now the kid could go back and find the real puppet without fear. The game is easy, but how easy it is remains unclear. Before he could turn back, the kid had to face a penalty for leveling up. A bright green notification appeared, recreating the scene of the black prison, bringing back memories of the friend you killed. That was the memory of the boss from level 10. In a world ravaged by famine, a cute little boy with white hair kept knocking on the doors of every house. "Please, just a small piece of bread or something edible." However, after so many cases like this, the people felt no sympathy at all. Instead, they showed disdain and shooed him away. As he was walking down the street, he suddenly bumped into a well-dressed young man who approached him with a feigned sense of pity and temptation. "You look really hungry and your body is hurt all over, right? Follow me, I'm a doctor. There are many kids like you in my mansion. We can get treated and play together." Listening to his sweet-talking, the boy followed him without suspicion, but contrary to what the man said, there was no place for fun or treatment here at all. The boy was thrown into an iron cage and treated like an animal. He was the master of a cult using homeless children as tools to make money. This bastard sacrificed the kids, believing they were the offspring of Dracula's poison witch and viruses of the nation. One day, someone carelessly knocked over a candle onto the floor, causing the entire building to be engulfed in flames. The people inside quickly fled the mansion, not forgetting to grab valuables, but they didn't remember the kids locked in the basement. The fire quickly spread down below, and the little white-haired boy kept screaming for help, but it was all in vain. They hadn't done anything wrong. They didn't want to be burned alive. They just wanted to play with friends just a little bit. At that moment, the punishment of the man also came to an end. Witnessing and experiencing the suffering of the children made him feel utterly powerless, filled with rage and a desire for revenge and anger that was unbearable. Voices, unheard dreams left unfinished all turned to ashes. Not wanting to become like that bastard, the Fire King Kim Gong-ra, he tried to find another solution. Even though the old spirit kept rambling in his head to find the boss and take it down quickly to ascend to the next level, he remained resolute. He realized that the golden card had stated that no one could leave the formation without the permission of the owner, and only those from the Black Dragon Guild could survive and return without being eliminated. The boss had only one answer to this problem. It was that it had allowed them to escape from a place that no human could surpass. Kim Gong-ra understood how it operated. The boss only wanted one thing from the adventurers. It just wanted to play with them. The young man opened the door to the 10th floor and rushed inside, as suggested, to play with the children trapped here. With the skill he had just hacked, he confidently walked through the sea of flames without a hint of fear of being turned to ash, selecting them one by one as memories of the children appeared right after. It was all just an answer, not you. After a long search, finally heaven did not disappoint him, and he found the boss gently placing his hand on its head. That child finally found someone to play with, a smile blossoming on his face along with the most sincere thanks. The boss was found and the mission was completed. Looking at the mansion before him, an indescribable feeling arose in his mind. Whether in this world or the outside world, such terrible things always happened. To reassure the little brother, the old man began to explain a philosophy: everyone is the same, blah blah. After talking for a while, he muttered to himself, shouting, "How the hell can I keep preaching like this? By the way, you were amazing. You cleared the boss level in your own way. Good job." Just then, fireworks lit up the sky, celebrating the completion of level 10. Level 11 will be unlocked in 24 hours, announced in every nook and cranny of the tower. Everyone started buzzing in the chat group to figure out who the conqueror was. Some thought it was the Black Dragon Guild, while others claimed it was the Sword King, but none were correct. The evidence showed that all the major guilds were busy outside. Yet no one was inside the tower. The question was, who kept appearing in the chat group to the point that everyone was curious? This was the second time the old elf had experienced something like this. It felt so nostalgic. He approached and asked how it felt to go from a side character to the main character. Was it thrilling? He happily replied that it felt amazing, as if he had the whole world in the palm of his hand. Just then the gatekeeper rushed over. "Sir Hunter, is that you? You cleared level 10. You are the only one to clear level 10 today. This is a message from the higher-ups asking me what's going on in response to that guy's probing question." So I just quietly asked back, "What if I did that? Your name? You already gave him 100 gold, didn't you?" The gatekeeper had to keep quiet, only daring to ask what the young man's group name was, but the kid didn't have any group at all. The old elf next to him praised the kid. "That was a smart decision. Your name is very valuable. You must keep your identity secret and make them search for you." In light of those compliments, I stared at him with a puzzled look and shouted, "I only realized a few things. The reason you praise me so much is that you call me Gong family's lord. If I complete the boss door with 2 coins, right? What are we doing? I actually cleared level 10 with 2 coins. The old elf quickly changed his expression, got closer, and started massaging the kid's shoulders and neck, flattering him. "Just think you and I are teammates. We are equals. The one who cleared level 99 with the one who will clear level 100, my dear friend. What nonsense is that?" He didn't let a single word slip by, just kept calling me Lord Gong for the rest of his life. After conquering level 10, I returned to the cafe on the first floor, casually sitting and listening to music, waiting for the guests who kept calling me Lord Gong. This made the old elf extremely frustrated. He became more dazed and foolish than ever, shouting, "I want to go back to the old man Marcus, but it's too late now, sweetheart. Didn't you say we were teammates for life? We'll be together forever." Half an hour had passed, and I was staring at the numbers in the sky, counting down each second. Hoping that good things would come my way. Just then, a cat appeared from somewhere, crawling towards me and meowing, making Min feel incredibly cute as he hugged it tightly. Meanwhile, the old elf was acting like a madman. What a fantastic performance. Asia had been waiting, and finally the uninvited guests arrived. They were the top recruiters from the Jude Guild in the tower. Before entering the negotiation, I proposed 2 conditions. First, don't reveal my name to the press until that clock counts down to 0, because I don't want to be caught by reporters. Before stepping into level 11, and the second condition is, please pay attention to other customers as this is a public place. The conditions were too simple, and they quickly shook hands to cooperate, taking over the cafe for an hour, and immediately kicked the other customers out. Everything was settled, and now it was time to discuss the money each would offer to recruit talent. 10,000, 15,000, and then 25,000 gold. Neither side is willing to back down. But surprisingly, the cat in my arms suddenly spoke up, offering a price of 500,000 gold and appointing the young man as the deputy commander, leaving everyone utterly shocked. So it turns out that Kat is a rank 3 Rayonju, the Countess of the Merchant Guild. No wonder she has so much money. Now I'm feeling intrigued. She was quite curious and asked me why I didn't seem surprised when she transformed into a human. Doesn't that scare you or something? Kim Gong-ra has seen much stranger things, like that ghostly spirit flitting behind her. So that was nothing to throw him off. Looking at her, no one would believe she's 40 years old and the richest among the top ranks in the tower. She must have taken some youth potion. Setting aside her beauty, Ryonju quickly got to the point, directly chasing away those recruiters. If any of you can offer more than 500,000 gold, then we can continue our discussion. But just as the staff left, the bosses came striding in. As soon as they appeared, the rank 5 Mumu, the commander of the Viper, started shouting, "You damn bitch!" Next was the rank 40 self-appointed commander, the Heretic Interrogator. The Heretics and the rank 8 deputy commander, the Crusader, and finally the rank 2 Black Dragon, the commander of the Black Witch. All the high-ranking hunters were gathered here. All because of a newbie who just leveled up to E yesterday. They were like a bunch of noisy kids arguing and making a ruckus in the little cafe. The first thing they asked me was, "So what are you going to do next?" Facing these incredibly powerful people, I felt a bit intimidated. I realized they wanted to test me. It couldn't be a coincidence that they were all here. It might be their strategy to try and scare me. The old elf quickly noticed this too. He advised me not to be afraid. If I showed fear, they would pounce on me right away. That's the difference between the strong and the weak. However, none of this compared to being burned alive. At this moment, what I needed to show them was just my composure. There was no reason to fear them at all. Kim Gong-ra cheerfully called the waiter to order as if it were just another ordinary day in the neighborhood. The only one scared here was the young man. The waiter was trembling, unable to wait any longer. They demanded I choose a guild, or if I didn't plan to join any guild like the Sword King, then I should let them know they needed to inform the media. The Black Dragon commander coldly explained that if I intended to join, the competition for me would begin. They had been on the 9th floor for too long. Once I cleared the 10th floor, this would be an opportunity to advertise the tower's value once again to the outside world, bringing war refugees from outside into the tower. And most of the hunters living on the 1st floor would feel the urge to conquer the higher floors. The world wouldn't stop at the 11th floor. Curiosity was the only thing keeping this tower alive. Especially food supplies would increase and be saved. It would be very hard to provide food for everyone with just 9 floors, even though Ryan-ju, the Countess of the Merchant Guild, was maintaining food supplies with the outside world, but it certainly wouldn't be enough. This was the time to gather more supplies. We needed to get hunters to venture beyond the 10th floor, and we needed to find things that could only be found on the 10th floor. Furthermore, we needed to convey this message to the outside world. A symbol was essential for a new era. After hearing what they said, I felt quite curious. These were the things that the Fire King had done, but the Black Dragon was trying to kill that symbol. Even though I didn't know the reason, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and to resolve this, to avoid any disputes, Kim Gong-ra suggested we all play cards. I would join the game of whoever was leading without needing money or any position. However, if you win, you'll make demands with all of Jude. On the outside, I'll still be a member of Jude, but in reality, everyone has to see me as an equal. For everyone, a person who has just cleared 1 floor of the tower wanting to be on the same level as the prestigious members is quite amusing. After all, there's nothing to lose. They all agreed to the guy's request as long as there was no cheating or using similar skills. Anyone who cheats will automatically withdraw from the Kim Gong competition. The guy is quite confident in this gamble. You've got your own way to win, and no one can figure it out. Of course, everything comes with a trade-off to hack this game. The guy had to lower his voice to negotiate with the elf. If he didn't want to be called the Lord of the Gong family anymore, he just needed to help you, and oh my, the teacher is looking gloomy. Because he was pressured, it felt like he had found a lifeline. He couldn't believe it, and asked again if this was real. This is easy to brush off. Gongja Nim accepts this proposal. Gongja Nim is offering you a bonus. I'll let you know if they cheat. Gongja Nim is truly great. The old elf is like a goldfish swimming in the pond, bouncing around like a child, reporting all the cards the opponent is holding to the kid without hesitation. Gongja Nim, this little one has run out of good cards. You should fold your cards. This guy is trying to bluff. How embarrassing. Go big or go home. Is this guy trying to go for 3 cards? Don't worry, I've seen his cards already. He can't win this hand, trust me, go all in. And so, with the teacher's help, he played 30 rounds without losing a single match, making the famous guy on Mumu the host furious and shout out, thinking that you must be cheating, but what can you do? The kid puts on an innocent face and tells him to bring out the evidence. Otherwise, he would be very hurt. The other guy still wouldn't stop being poked by the opponent, made him even angrier, helplessly holding his head, watching how he was gloating. There's no way he is a ranker. Turns out this uncle has eyes in the back of his head, casually burning back. Oh, how do you know I'm not a ranker? I haven't reported yet, but I just leveled up to rank E yesterday. Being poked by the guy to the point of wanting to spit blood, he couldn't argue back at all. He could only silently retreat backstage. Waiting for the finals, playing endlessly, losing endlessly, one by one, all the hosts gave up. Only the girl from the Black Dragon faction hadn't given up. They also realized that the guy must have used some kind of skill. But they couldn't do anything to the kid. The final hand had been dealt. The black dragon tried hard to persuade him, but the guy didn't budge at all, saying he liked the attention. He wanted them to praise him and dreamed of becoming someone like him. That was enough. The leader of the black dragon was quite tough to deal with, even though she didn't have the skills to defeat her. But he still confidently said to all of them, "I'm very confident. Let me tell you, my achievements won't just stop at level 10. I will clear levels 2350 and 100. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I will climb to the top of this tower. I will clear floors 23, 10, 50, and 100. It doesn't matter how much time it takes. I will climb to the top of this tower. I respect that you see this tower as a treasure. I don't necessarily have to fight you, but I will see you as my rivals. I'd rather explore the world outside this tower, more than knowing what lies hidden inside here. To be honest, I don't know much about the hunger and poverty here. But if you want to use my name to address those issues, feel free, but please help me climb this tower. I want to know what it feels like to stand at the top of the tower. The game has ended, and the victory goes to the main character with a perfect win. The elf is overjoyed, spinning around like he's been reborn, continuously repeating from Zombie Kim, as if not saying it means there's no chance left. The man known as the Sword Emperor being so childish is truly embarrassing. Before leaving the cafe, men revealed to them the hints from levels 11 to 20. As for the remaining roles, I have no idea what's there. The next day, to prepare for entering level 11, everyone gathered at the center to wait for the gate to open. Everyone is still wondering about the one who cleared level 10. The Sword King had to put on a serious face to firmly assert that he wasn't the one who did it. The clock is about to strike. Everyone counted down the last 11 seconds as if preparing to welcome the new year. At that moment, fireworks exploded in the sky and a beautiful girl appeared shimmering above. From today, the guidance has ended. I'll say it again, from today, the guidance has ended. Heroes, those who climb to the top of this tower. Congratulations on clearing level 10, the Hellfire. Heroes, the world needs your help in this realm. Humanity is being invaded by the Demon King. Now everyone will be summoned to that place as heroes to protect humanity if you wish to accept this mission. Just say teleport. Everyone thought it was an angel, but the elf interrupted, saying it was a scam. It's just an automated question-answering system. No matter how much it resembles a goddess, it's just a recorded video. Because he had witnessed it once before. Just at that moment, the Sword King flew down from the rooftop, cutting through the video feed in the sky, shattering the goddess dream of the young hunters below. Quickly accepting the mission and being teleported to level 11, only me was still stuck with the reporters because the Crusader had leaked the information. Faced with the continuous questions from the reporters, the kid just replied briefly, "I will clear level 20 inches and then teleported to level 11, before everyone was a pile of ruins." The soldiers of the Azim Empire were fighting against monsters to protect something. At this moment, the tower sent a mission to rescue the food supply line with a difficulty rating from F to A. A disaster had occurred with the Azim Empire. The Demon King had created an army to destroy it. The food supply line of the Empire aims to cut off the manpower of the capital. Save the food supply line of the Empire. This will be the first step to save the Empire. If we fail, level 12 will not be opened. Everything became chaotic as everyone rushed to attack, even though they didn't know the situation. But first, we must defeat them. With the rank 1 position at the top of the leaderboard, the Sword King opened the way, and the other hunters followed him. In the midst of the chaos, he remains calm, not even flinching as he draws his sword. The kid casually opens the hidden gifts he received from conquering level 11, where he can see all positions and abilities of everyone. From level 11 to 10, and with an item that gives a feeling of hacking the game, it's truly exhilarating. From here, he realizes there are 2 ways to defeat the Demon King. One is to have enough strength to single-handedly defeat the Demon King's entire army, and the second is to lead an army to match strength with strength. Naturally, the kid will choose the second option. Even though he doesn't have the talent to lead an army, he has the talent to hack the game to create something that can lead an entire army. They say victory or defeat lies in skill. This isn't just about luck. You also have to use your head. Kim gathers the map to find NPCs with leadership skills, then displays their position and his own, and then ta-da, just keep moving straight towards it. The old elf is so angry he feels like vomiting blood. Kim Zombie, this can't be. You have to walk on your own 2 feet. You keep hacking like this and don't feel ashamed. He walks over to the NPC with a cool mustache and excellent skills. Starting the psychological manipulation, he explains, "General Ijim Sabat, since you trust me, I have something to ask of you. Stab me." Actually, I have a secret skill. If I kick the bucket, the blessing of the Lord will flow onto this battlefield. It's like a suicide skill. If I go, this empire will receive blessings and victory. Blah, blah, in short, convincing the guy to stab him to hack the leadership skill of the soldiers. The teacher beside him keeps shouting for the NPC to run away. This guy is just a fraud. What kind of skill could there be like that? However, it was all in vain. No one listened to him, and in the end, with his sharp tongue, he managed to get the guy to stab him, killing him instantly. He passes away, his feet cold, and an immediate notification appears. You have died. You have copied the skill of NPC Sabbat Azim, just as the kid expected. In the hunting world, there's a saying that goes roughly, there are higher mountains than the high mountains. No matter how skilled you are with a knife, you can't stand against someone who can command an entire army, a proverb created by Kim Gong. And of course that person is here, Kim returning 24 hours earlier. The gang is still as usual, burying themselves in smashing goblins, hoping to follow in the footsteps of the Sword King. Maybe they can scavenge a little something. Watching the kid ride a horse leading an entire army, they have to stop for about 5 seconds, wondering who that hunter is and why he's there. With the vision skill just copied, he can see the entire battlefield. The allies are in a favorable or unfavorable position, and the enemy's weaknesses are revealed thanks to it along with the map. Now he feels like he can see everything sitting behind the saddle of Sabbat Ag, commanding an entire army. Turn right over there and you'll find the Demon King's general. There will be a few monsters around, but it will be fine. Just need to get through them, helping the main character become a military expert and gain the trust of the commander. Everyone looks at the legendary sword. Considered the protector of Lafanta Azim, a gift from the goddess given to the founder of the Azim Empire in his hands, he continuously shouts, the goddess's hero will protect us. The indestructible empire, the indestructible hero. Other hunters look at Kim and feel incredibly envious. Why is he the only one allowed to accompany the commander? Since he appeared, he has looked like a hunter. Blah, blah, seeing the kid excited by the envy of others, the teacher becomes even angrier. He taught him about aura to practice swordsmanship, yet the kid uses it to eavesdrop on others, making him feel helpless. The situation of the battle is gradually coming to an end thanks to the NPC tools. They are controlling the situation and the left flank of the demon army has been wiped out. Blah, blah saw the kid getting excited over the jealousy of others, which only made the teacher angrier. He had taught him about aura to practice swordsmanship, yet the kid was using it to eavesdrop on others' rambling, which was just frustrating. The situation of the battle was gradually coming to an end, thanks to the NPC tools they were using to control the left flank of the demon army, which had been wiped out. The other hunters continued to attack their main forces, advancing alongside the Sword King as they took down one goblin after another. Before long, the boss of the 11th floor, the Goblin Emperor, was skewered and killed with cheers and praises echoing throughout the battlefield, filling the air with joy and happiness. We've taken down those wicked monsters. The goddess's hero has defeated the leader of the immortal Ae Jim Empire, and the level is complete. They captured the 11th floor in just one day, and the tower began evaluating the participants of the raid, listing the top 10 contributors for the mission. It was quickly announced, quite coincidentally and surprisingly, that the first place was Kim Gong. The second was the Sword King, followed by the masters of several other monstrous worms. Everyone looked at the name of the man and wondered why the number 1 spot didn't have the alias Kim Gong, the one who cleared the 10th floor. Is he an anonymous master? The elf saw them praising his little brother and muttered that the master with the hammer was just a damn clever fool. He still wouldn't admit that this was a game of skills that truly valued a person's ability over anything else. The master had said he promised to practice some sword fighting after clearing the 20th floor, so he should stop sulking. Hearing his little brother say that, the guy felt a rush of happiness, his eyes shining like 2 headlights, grinning with glee. That's right, little zombie. Finally, you recognize my true worth? You know, the tower you're climbing might be different from what I experienced, but in my world, blah, blah. Before he could finish, the NPC general of the Azim Kingdom appeared. Thanking the man for bringing victory to them, he confidently stated that he would place the fate of this empire in your hands. Just then, the tower sent out a notification. Evaluation complete. The top contributors to the raid will receive early access to the 12th floor until the top contributors claim their rewards. The others will be blocked from accessing the 12th floor, and immediately the top 10 members were teleported to the Empire's palace. Worried for his little brother, the elf reminded him about Marcus's presence. If he noticed you, he would take you down right away. But Kim Gong wasn't too scared. It seems you have something planned. So he confidently replied, don't worry too much. The worst that could happen is that I die. Everything will be fine because I have a plan. And just as expected, they had just landed in the castle and hadn't even greeted each other when the Sword King acted. So a rank 40 self-controlled heretic interrogator appeared. Quickly stopping the kid, he managed to save one life. Marcus didn't explain much and pointed his sword at them, threatening, "Step aside, I need to skewer that guy. If you don't move aside, don't blame me for taking one of your arms during the fight." The kid, not understanding what was happening, still spoke softly to him. "That terrifying threat. I still need my arm for many things, and if we let the hunter Kim Gong go, the reputation of the 5 greatest killers will collapse instantly. If you could tell me why you want to take down the hunter Kim Gong, don't drag it out." The Sword King simply replied that he had no obligation. He should tell them. "So don't bother being here, old man. You're wrong, very wrong. Being old and going against the young, what's the point?" Right after that, he saw the kid using a teleport skill, and 2 other young masters of worms appeared right above, ready to attack him. Luckily, thanks to his high agility, the Sword King easily dodged these pesky attacks. They couldn't touch him at all. Not stopping there, the kid continued to strike. He asked, "Dear Countess, 10,000 gold for the spirit of thievery." Then used the holy skill to donate, enhancing his body, wrapping himself in gold for 300 seconds, dirtying the 2 teammates waiting over there, to shake the Sword King's spirit a bit. In 300 seconds, the paladin and clan leader Chun Gun will truly become different, even if he has to face me. The female Count, Paladin, and Viper. Although the Countess has lost some money, if he wants, we can check what will happen before he goes to the altar to eat naked chicken. Just when the female Count ran out of money, the Black Dragon appeared, saying she would also join the fight, because yesterday they had an official contract with Nam Ju. So pointing the sword at him is also pointing it at them, and this is the plan that Men has devised. He once said that. There are 2 ways to fight a strong opponent. One is to have enough strength to fight on your own, and the other is to build an army for yourself as a solo player. You will become powerless against a hunter from a powerful alliance. For the plan to be perfect, Men stepped forward to request the Sword King a few minutes, to exchange and find common ground, appearing innocent and clueless as to why he was being attacked. This was their first meeting, and I haven't done anything wrong. A straight tree doesn't fear a falling axe, but throwing eggs against a rock facing 5 enemies still requires some thought. The Sword King feels quite wronged. He began to lament that since he joined the tower, they pressured him to join every day, and the reason he refused that. He said he wanted everyone to know that a person can stand at the top of the bloodline tower. Nationality integration and all that lowly stuff doesn't exist here. A person can become great with just a sword. They can succeed with only talent and effort. He wants to bring hope to all players. And those jerks are just trash like buzzing mosquitoes. The leaders of the jerks seem to be scratched in just the right spot, screaming that he did not help to conquer the other floors. This would reduce damage and money and also use his influence to help everyone improve their food shortages. They bluntly said that if they were mosquitoes. Trash? Then he is no different from a child avoiding responsibility. If he is a name, then he should display the appropriate responsibility for that name. No matter what he says, the Sword King still insists on pointing his sword at Men. He will fight even if surrounded by 10 such people. Kim Gong stepped in to mediate, saying that instead of arguing like old garlic, let's unite to solve the problem of the 12th floor. Even if they are just NPCs, they say their country is on the brink of collapse. And the summoned heroes want to let the empire perish. The paladin beside him also stepped up and voiced support, even though he didn't understand why the Sword King did that. But I will sacrifice a bit to use the lie detection skill to help both reconcile. Suspicion is the poison that kills, while the truth is the antidote. Of course, Men immediately agreed with the paladin's request. He wanted to seize this opportunity to eliminate suspicion by using another skill, so the Sword King also yielded to her. She is the only one here I can trust, so I will place my trust in her, and thus the exchange began with the old man Marcus asking the kid if he had pierced over 4,000 people, right? He grinned wickedly and nodded, causing the Sword King's fans to scream. Indeed, he is trash. This guy is the assassin sent here. Who would know? But before he could finish his sentence, the paladin Chen interjected firmly, stating that was the wrong answer. The correct answer from Kim Gong was a lie. This also means that he didn't kill 4,000 people. Who could pierce that many people? The Sword King went mad not believing it and pointed out that the kid was an experienced assassin, laughing maniacally, claiming he was just as he said. The paladin confirmed that it was a lie. Marcus became increasingly confused and shocked, wondering what the hell was going on. No matter what I say, it's all nonsense. The guy, frustrated, yelled at the guards, claiming she was lying, but the paladin shot back a line that silenced him. Clearly, I asked from the beginning. Clearly, I said we would trust each other. Do you want to retract that now? At this moment, Kim Gong began to act, feigning innocence, admitting that yes, he had killed people. But it's really just one person. Of course, a murderer is still a murderer, but that bastard truly deserves to die. Not to mention, he actually tried to kill me first, which was just an act of self-defense. Everything that the man said was confirmed by the paladin. It was all true, which left Marcus shocked, unable to believe that his ridiculous skill could actually be wrong. At that moment, Kim Gong stepped up beside Mr. Sword King and asked him to apologize for what had just happened. If it weren't for the worm masters protecting me, I would have been gone cold and lifeless by now. To ensure everything went smoothly, the paladin reiterated that what he said was completely true, with not a hint of falsehood, so he should hurry up and apologize to him. Faced with all this, I thought the Sword King would refuse to believe it again and demand a duel, but unexpectedly he bowed his head and said the most sincere words, "I'm truly sorry. I was wrong. I thought too simply and misunderstood you, almost killing an innocent person. Please forgive me for trying to kill you thanks to you. Because of this old man. You made it to the top of this tower, so please, out of respect, forgive me." Marcus realized that his skill meant nothing. He promised himself that from now on he wouldn't rely on it to take lives anymore. His pride and faith had been shaken. The Sword King truly had no face left except to bow his head and apologize to continue living, responding to his sincere words. Embarrassed and blushing, he asked the old man to teach him how to use a sword. With a master like this, there would be no worthy opponent left, and everyone witnessed the confession of the two friends. Both old and young felt incredibly moved, telling the Sword King not to just stand there anymore. Marcus had been frozen for a good 10 seconds, but now he was regaining his composure. And he agreed with the kid. Not only that, Marcus even seemed very excited to introduce his niece to him. He went on about how the kid should change his style of dressing and countless other things, making the man just want to escape once again, helplessly thinking about starting over. Today, while being lectured by the old man about love, the tower conveniently sent a gift to the person who completed the mission. And of course, the first slot was for Kim Gong, the top of the 11th floor, with 2 rewards to choose from. The first is the goddess of protection, the guardian deity of the empire. Kim was moved by your dedication, so the goddess entrusted you with a very important responsibility for your country. You could become a prime minister, a general, or the head of the night squad, and so on. Whichever position you choose will inherit the abilities and reputation of that position. Join forces with your fellow warriors and take down the Demon Lord's lair on the 20th floor. But if you choose the Demon Lord's reward, you won't be able to choose the goddess's reward. The second is the Demon Lord's reward, the autumn reign of the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord was very impressed with your performance, so he secretly collaborated with you. He promised to give you a reward, similar to the goddess along with another reward. Except for you, all the warriors in the top 10 were killed, so the Demon Lord would unleash his power and take you straight up to the 99th floor. However, only one person in the top 10 receives the Demon Lord's reward. If no one chooses, the reward will disappear. Reading the announcement line left the man completely stunned. If everyone is gone, can the mission really be completed all the way to the 99th floor? How could I let the kid make a mistake? The old elf immediately appeared. He warned that this is definitely a trap. Don't fall for such a trap. You know, right? You realize it's a trap because there's no way. That bastard, the Fire King, didn't choose the Demon King's reward before, so that jerk will definitely choose the Demon King's reward now, and he's still on the 40th floor. Not the 99th floor, so the Demon King's reward is definitely a trap, but honestly, it looks very tempting. It wouldn't be a bad idea. It would be terrible to be skewered by the boss on the 99th floor. The teacher saw the kid having distorted thoughts and immediately spoke up to stop him, saying not to do that. Look at me, I am the Sword King. I climbed to the 99th floor alone and I failed. And I'm trying to point out to you that this is a trap. There will only be something horrifying and terrifying there. With your current skills, not only can you not handle anyone in the top 10, but even if you find a way to do it, you would still just be an ant when you reach the 99th floor. There are no bosses on the 99th floor, no monsters at all, but instead there will be something. Something much more terrifying. It's a trap, so don't blame me for not warning you in advance. Think back on what you've been through. The old man still feels everything is really horrifying and surreal. Ho looked back at that kid, pouting, and said, "You've done really well. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll gradually get through the 99th floor." I don't understand why he suddenly acted like that. But thinking it over for everyone's safety, he decided to skip both options to see what would happen next, explaining the reward he received to the others. He said he didn't choose either, so everyone should weigh what's best for themselves. The guardian angel questioned Men's decision while the demon king laughed menacingly. Next was the turn of the rank 2 sword king. After reading through, he understood why Men did that. It was the safest choice, but it really wasn't necessary. This is a good reward, very hard to follow, so the Sword King chose the reward from the Guardian Angel, taking the position of the Supreme Commander of the Asian Empire suitable for his abilities. Next up is the part where he lists the 30 rewards, so everyone won't wonder what he said comparing them to a mafia game considering those who chose the God reward as knights. And those who chose the Demon Lord reward are the traitors, while the knights except for Menza will use their lying detection skills to find out who the traitor is. Everything was as easy as turning his hand. He immediately chose the position of Supreme Commander of the Empire to embody the next people who would trust him wholeheartedly. Seeing that as the best choice, everyone opted for the God reward with no one choosing the Demon Lord's gift. However, when the notification completed the distribution, the rewards appeared and only then did people start to panic. One person had received the God reward while 8 had received the Demon Lord's reward. All the top players had made their choices and the atmosphere began to tense up. The main players could no longer keep their cool and demanded the paladin use his lie detection skill. They checked immediately, but after asking around, everything turned out to be true. People kept questioning each other, wondering if it wasn't just the 10 of them here. So who is the traitor then? Watching the chaotic situation, even the protective goddess had to lament the foolishness of them all, while the bloodthirsty demon lord chuckled quietly as everyone began to suspect one another. The Sword King suspected that the paladin might be the liar covering for the main players. She tried to calm everyone down, saying they needed to trust each other and sit down to analyze the situation clearly. But at this point, how could they stay calm? The 10 players began to go crazy. He thought that the 5 major guilds had lost 15 to work together like this. So it was really hard to trust anyone other than the 5 major guilds, and it would be a waste if they lost 15 to build trust with everyone. The 10 players immediately used their skills combined with Viper. They took down players 8, 9, and 10 in succession, while the paladin kept shouting for him to stop, but it was already too late. A horrifying scene unfolded before their eyes, making everyone cover their mouths in shock. 3 lives were lost in an instant. The supporting characters who hadn't even been showcased yet were laid on the altar naked. However, after skewering them, the tower displayed a notification. None of the names were the Demon Lord's servants. The 10 players still wouldn't stop. He was getting more and more like a madman, wiping the blood off his hands and looking at the paladin with an excited expression. And he charged forward. It was really hard to stop him. I thought the traitor would be among these 3. Ha, so the traitor is among us. It seems trust will vanish in just a moment, right? The Sword King couldn't just stand by anymore. He angrily charged at Viper to attack. The arm of the 10 players was chopped off, but that didn't matter because he could reattach it in an instant. Everything went chaotic and Viper could no longer resist. He screamed for someone to help him. He was about to be skewered by this old Sword King. The paladin helplessly called out to Kim because only he hadn't accepted a reward. The others could be the Demon Lord's servants, but he was not. Everyone began to rush into battle 4 against 1, but the Sword King still wouldn't back down. Nothing could stop him anymore. Everyone said they would place their trust in him. They respected all his decisions because they didn't trust their own judgment until the traitor was caught thinking that a battle would occur and a traitor would emerge. So Men had given up the reward but never thought things would turn out this badly. Looking at the mess before him, Men tried every way to persuade the Sword King to stop. He shouted in desperation, "Sword King, if you ever bowed your head, I'm sorry. I mean, you respect me, so please listen to me. Stop it, let's talk together. I will date your granddaughter. Of course I will date her if she can come to the tower, so please support me. I might become your son-in-law in the future." I didn't think it would be this good, but it's surprisingly delicious. When it comes to his descendants, the King of Thieves immediately said to stop and advised that it's better to find the traitor and kill them first. At this moment, the paladin could finally breathe a sigh of relief, glad that this old man decided to stop. Kim Gong stepped forward, urging everyone to stay calm and explaining that they didn't know who the traitor was and couldn't even find him. But that's a different issue. They could still defeat the traitor. Even if they couldn't find him, the focus shouldn't be on locating or killing the traitor. It's a trap. The traitor could be lurking right now, ready to strike. Internally, the system could choose its own traitor. First, they should eliminate the Demon King. If he leaves, the reward will vanish, making it a simple problem. It doesn't matter how the tower tests us. The solution is always very simple, just climb the tower. And together, let's destroy the Demon King's core on the 20th floor. Right now, the mission for the 12th floor has opened up, and outside, a terrifying red rain is pouring down. The NPCs are clutching their heads in pain, continuously lamenting that the nightmare rain is pouring down again. All of us, Demon King Goddess, please don't abandon us. The Demon King then appeared with a gigantic knife on his shoulder, truly a pitiful bunch of people. You call people from another world here and give them high positions so they can shield you. Call as many as you want. Hundreds, thousands of them are fine too. After all, they're just humans like you. How pitiful. In the end, you still don't realize your own foolishness. You trashy humans are consumed by your own wicked thoughts. According to the tower's message, the mission's goal this time is to stop the Demon King. His power has weakened since appearing here. If they fail, the 12th floor won't open. Everyone started arguing again, claiming this was something they couldn't handle on their own, so they tried to calm them down, telling them to stay calm. Surely the tower wouldn't send an impossible mission. They can't get through this phase alone. They need to convince the NPCs to boost their combat power and lead them into battle like real humans. The heroes have received their roles, and now it's time to get into character and complete the mission. Kim Gong relied on each title everyone received to start assigning tasks. First, the Paladin. This is the reception room, but there's no Emperor. He might be somewhere with the NPCs. It will be very difficult to control the NPCs without their king. So the Paladin's job will be to find the king. Next is the commander, who will need the walls and must calm the soldiers at all costs to protect the walls. If the walls collapse, this phase will end. And next are the others. Everyone has their own tasks suitable for their positions. The people on the 11th floor have also been moved here to carry out the mission. While everyone has scattered to work the leader of the Black Dragon, the Dark Sorceress returned to search for the main character using teleportation magic. She could go anywhere she could see. Quite interesting, the elf said to the main character, "Oh, I'll just kill him." Teleportation is a powerful skill. It turns out the Black Dragon came to take the main character because she saw him with some kind of sword on the 11th floor. To help boost the soldiers' morale, she felt that what they needed right now wasn't her but him. The Black Dragon needed Kim Gong's consent to teleport the main character. Because that's the limit of the skill. If the person accompanying doesn't agree, nothing can be done. The young man looked quite confused and asked her, "Isn't this at least an S-level skill? Is it okay to reveal its limitations? Isn't that her trump card?" In this precarious situation, there's nothing left to hide. It's completely normal for the Prime Minister to use his trump card to protect the country. Time is running out, and the Dark Sorcerer urged the kid to quickly agree and go with him to the castle right away as the rain continued to pour down. The tears of the NPCs started to flow as well, unable to be held back. After showing a pitiful side of himself to Cho, the Dark Sorcerer stood before the soldiers and began to rally them to rise up and fight. With all their strength to protect the Asian Empire, the goddess would stand by them. The sword was raised in gratitude for their choice. Gathering the last of their strength, they illuminated the sky. Even though it was a small light, the rain began to stop where it shone, which was significant for those who had lost everything. It became incredibly special. Initially, the reason there were no NPCs in the castle was that all the rulers had abandoned the empire. Perhaps that's why the tower chose the empire as a stage. Just like the abandoned child in the 10th floor of the castle. The call to rise from the Black Dragon along with the light of the goddess had an effect. It made the fallen NPCs begin to stand up and fight to protect the empire. To complete the next mission, he proposed that she help him first by creating a situation where he could face the Demon King one-on-one. Then, while the NPCs were outside, they should try to gather the hunters. With their help, it wouldn't be too much to handle, and if the Demon King wanted to send more monsters to break down the walls, then immediately teleport him to his location. The Dark Sorcerer felt quite curious and turned to ask the kid if he intended to play a special character. "Do you want to commit suicide?" She should indeed be suspicious, but he confidently replied that what he wanted was victory. Death isn't the end. He had his own plans, so just trust him. Every hunter has at least one secret of their own, so the Dark Sorcerer didn't ask any further. She hoped that his sword would be sharp enough to take down the mentioned boss. The boss appeared right away, lumbering forward and swinging the sword. It struck straight toward the castle. Quite a few NPCs had fallen. The scene was one of devastation, with the notification of a hero having sacrificed themselves. This person wasn't one of the Demon King's subordinates, appearing pale before them. The Black Dragon was stunned for 5 seconds, looking that way and exclaiming the names of the Holy Sword, the Inquisitor, and Viper. They must be with the army, then. The Paladin was likely searching for the king, so the only one who could be there was that damn Countess. How could she die before me? She was very sad, but couldn't cry. They had fought side by side for 15 years to reach this day. But it didn't stop there. If the Countess were to fall, the tower's connection to the outside world would collapse. Temporarily setting aside the grief and consequences, the Black Dragon suppressed her feelings and said they should focus on what was in front of them. Even the Demon King couldn't attack continuously, so they needed to protect the walls. Looking at the map, Kim realized the Demon King had changed formations and was planning to attack here. Therefore, shortly after, you and the Black Dragon teleported to the front line. The elf began to seriously instruct the zombies to hold for a minute. Not just 30 seconds would be enough. Resist. To win this battle, you have to become the hope for everyone, no matter how long it takes. Just show them the scene of you fighting against the monsters. That's all it takes to become a hero. Just surviving for 35 seconds when everyone else has only 30 seconds of despair means that whoever can give them those 30 seconds of hope can become a hero. I promised to teach you swordsmanship before reaching the 20th floor, didn't I? It may be a bit early, but this is the time to practice. In a battle, what matters is not an absolute second, but a relative second. Use your sword to blind them and steal a second from them. Come on, my companion, it's time to become a hero. Kim Gong chugged down the entire bottle of potion and transformed into a different person. Your second became faster, and with all your heart and sword, you would be quicker than my second. Thanks to the enthusiastic guidance of the teacher and the perfect coordination of the younger brother, the men gradually began to adapt, taking down one monster after another, eliminating one before the next appeared. Like a symphony of swords, 10 seconds passed. Countless monsters were sent back to their ancestors by the kid. Suddenly, a thought crossed his mind. Why would the tower grant a rare skill to someone like him? It doesn't have to be great like a deity giving it to an ordinary person, right? Why out of 8 billion people would the tower grant a skill to a lunatic like him? Does the tower think no one can conquer it except Yoshua? So to conquer the tower, I have to become as crazy as he is ridiculous. I will be the one to conquer the 20th floor instead of that Fire King and even the 30th, 50th, and maybe the 100th floor. I will show you that in 30 seconds of slaughter, Kim Gong has been promoted from E rank to D rank, and everyone in the top 10 has gathered here. They have completed their assigned tasks and rushed into battle regardless of how fearsome the Demon King is. Everything for you stood still in his mind with only one thought to move forward. With everyone's help, the path was opened quickly and smoothly. As planned, the Dark Witch quickly transported the generals to the Demon King's location. However, contrary to them, he charged in alone. This scene is about to disappear. The unity of everyone the sacrifices made to cooperate together, perhaps people will not remember, but that doesn't mean everything will vanish. Just like the souls that died on the 99th floor are with those who died on the first floor. When you return, although nothing will be resolved, you will become stronger and everything will be better. The question is, did you come to kill me? The hero of the Demon King should confidently raise his index finger and respond, "No, we came for you to kill us, you fool." The notification that you have died appeared immediately. The skill condition has been activated randomly, copying the Demon King's abilities as expected. The system notification says you have randomly copied the skill of the Demon Lord monster. Autumn Rain, the old elf, stood with his back turned, saying, "What skill? I've seen it all. I'll read it to you." Anyway, the tower seems disappointed with the hunter's attitudes. Gong nodded in response. "Thanks, man." The old man smiled back. "Okay, listen carefully. The first skill is called Resentment Overflowing Like Rain, rank S. Its effect is invisible. Humans consider something that does not exist if it is something they cannot see. You're blind, aren't you? That's right, you fools. Expose everything so they know how many people have died in their ignorance, and the sky will turn red as the rain falls. However, only the blood rain that you witness can turn into rain that falls. For some reason, you have a feeling that the Demon Emperor will definitely break through the 10th floor. Doesn't the tower feel guilty about that? The voice of the old elf rang out. "This is the next skill. The heartbeats loudly rank. A enhancing aura with your own emotions. The stronger your emotions, the more powerful it becomes." Aura reacted fiercely, determined to avenge the hatred and suffering. Any feeling would do. Every piece of wood will eventually catch fire, but you might find yourself addicted to that feeling. Gong touched his chin, pondering that every level has its hidden tasks, and the 12th level is certainly no exception. The old spirit's voice echoed again. The next skill is this. Summon the SS level White Ghost. It can bring back a deceased friend as a ghost. The dead cannot inherit skills or memories from their past life. You can only summon monsters like goblins. Zombie Skull Demon. However, you can only summon once a week. He crossed his arms, watching the 3 glowing cards hover in front of him. These are my 3 favorite skills. He raised his hand. I'll choose this one. You're a bit high, aren't you? I don't know anything, okay? But if it's the best, it will be the most useful skill for you to conquer. At level 20, the old spirit muttered, well, just do as you wish. I may not know what you're thinking, but I'm really looking forward to it. Gong just touched the card and exclaimed, "Oh, Sword Emperor!" He asked if he was used to practicing swordsmanship daily at home. The old man replied, "What else can I do?" Mr. Marcus is a true old man. He has a clear plan for everything from early morning until he goes to bed. He glanced over, which is why I asked about his evening plans. There will definitely be a time to use it. The old spirit nodded. The system lit up, announcing the completion of the skill copy choice, returning to 24 hours ago even if I would see the karma of the demon lord. You are currently a D-level hunter. Because of this skill, you will face penalties. We will recreate the karma of the enemy who killed you. The difficulty of the punishment is normal. That is the hungry demon. We will talk more about this nightmare later. The scene shifted to another place. The dark witch was sitting with her elbows on the table. She asked, "Are you leaving?" He nodded. "Yes, level 11 will open soon. To avoid falling behind, I need to prepare from now on." The dark witch asked, "Do you know what level 11 is like? There's no need to prepare for level 11. It's not a problem yet." "But at level 12, when the demon lord appears..." She noticed he wasn't answering and called his name louder. "Kim, are you okay? You don't look well. Where does it hurt?" He held his forehead, looking a bit tired. "I'm fine. It's just that everyone is so talented and now we have to be in this situation. It's really frustrating. Does everyone feel overwhelmed?" Then Gong put his hand down his face, looking quite optimistic. "Well, yeah, it is like that. I know what level 11 is like. I don't need anyone to tell me. I already know what level 11 will have." Everyone was stunned to hear him say that because it was the reward for conquering level 10. I revealed the information. "Hey, it would be better to analyze the shared information together, right?" Gong thought aloud and answered himself. "That's right, but I have a condition." The image of him appeared in the dark witch's eyes. His voice echoed in everyone's ears. "Whenever I speak my request, you must listen," Gong said seriously, although I can't say what my request is right now. "But I won't threaten anyone's life or demand money. If you find my request unfeasible, you can refuse then." Herrick stroked his chin and said, "I find this condition very interesting. I have the information now. Then we can handle almost any problem. I agree, even if we close our eyes and smile softly, we have the right to refuse, so I also support others who continuously agree. Well, let's just listen first. This transaction doesn't harm me, so I agree." "Okay, that's phase 1 done." You smiled and spoke up saying, "From floor 11 to 20, it's the ADM Empire." Everyone murmured at that. Indeed, the first 10 floors were just practice, while from floor 11 onward it would be large-scale battles. Looking around at everyone, you continued. "I'll reveal a bit of information to the guild members. Oh, they fight like this so we can easily handle floor 11. Before leaving, you turned to the paladin and said, "So may I take my leave first, a holy knight?" When she heard her name mentioned, she asked back, "You're suggesting that she's the captain of the guard, right? Do you want to take a little stroll? I have something I want to advise you on." The paladin agreed, and I was just about to stand up as long as it doesn't take too long. You smiled, saying, "Yes, just 30 minutes is enough." She smiled back, adding a bit of humor. "That works for me. I would gladly accept this date invitation." As the two of them walked down the nearby road, there was a buzz of chatter. He hadn't said anything yet because someone new had appeared. Could it be true? Are the big guilds adjusting something? "I also want to go through the door." The old elf followed closely behind, and someone's voice echoed in his ear. "Why is there no clue about floor 10? Suddenly, a gong sounded in his head. This zombie sensed a strange change around him. His expression turned serious as he instructed the old elf quietly without letting others know, "Follow me." He nodded to himself. "So don't look back. Even if you do, you won't know. That old man has a skill for stealth barriers, too. You felt lucky it was just in time. I understand now. Just check for me if it's following me." Deep down, he thought about that bone-deep pain he felt at the front door. You fell into deep thought. If you waited until floor 12 to resolve the misunderstanding with the Sword Saint, it would be too late. It had to be resolved before entering the tower. The Sword Saint's relationship with the guild leaders was very poor. Once he put the sword in your hand, he would treat you like the guild leader and strike. There would also be a bomb named Traitor dropped down. This was the shortcut to destruction. The paladin noticed you hadn't said anything for a while. She looked around and asked Kim, "Where are we going?" At that moment, you turned back and smiled, saying, "Although heading this way will be a bit dark, I want to introduce you to a shop in the Gong family. Do you want to lure a Sword Saint now?" You tried to attract attention by doing things that matched the Sword Saint's daily schedule. According to Beorayon, once he noticed you, he would follow you right away. Of course, the paladin next to you doesn't know this. The paladin paused and asked the shopkeeper, who explained that it was a nameless alchemist's shop, like that person. Great, once it gains a reputation, this shop will be incredibly popular. The paladin should come and help him run the business smoothly. She smirked. "Are you serious about what you just said?" You just realized that she had activated her lie detection. Calmly, he replied, "Of course, why would I lie to you?" He smiled innocently. "I just mentioned it because I care about that person. I don't want to create a suspicious story. I just want the paladin's help. No matter what happens that puts me in danger, you'll be fine. Trust me." The paladin felt confused, thinking all of this must be true, right? She forced a smile. "I'm sorry everyone says I'm overly suspicious. Let's move on." The two continued to move to the place where Gong's family had just entered. The alchemist smiled and welcomed them. Customer," he asked, "are you still open?" She smiled brightly, even though it was past closing time. "But if it's you, I'm always ready to welcome you as our first regular customer." Then the alchemist looked at the person beside him and asked, "And who is this with you?" Upon hearing Gong's family name, the captain of the guard, known as the Paladin, she was shocked and widened her eyes. The alchemist asked in surprise, "The captain of the guard? Isn't that someone very noble? Why is this person here?" Oh, he smiled to himself, thinking that this reaction wasn't unusual for an ordinary hunter. Suddenly, the alchemist knelt down and shouted, "Are you here to catch drug dealers? Even though I run a business in this alley, I don't concoct any harmful drugs. I live very honestly and I will continue to live honestly, so please focus on your investigation." Calmly, he thought to himself, "I apologize for retracting my previous statement." The paladin nodded in response. "And you know that she used lie detection, right? The result is all true. She will definitely be surprised." He sat down across from the alchemist to reassure her. "Don't worry, she didn't come here for that. The shopkeeper is a very kind and skilled person." She looked up at him cautiously and asked, "Is that so?" He explained the reason he brought her here. "Compared to her talent, this shop is doing poorly. I felt sorry, so I introduced it to the paladin." The alchemist was so surprised she stuttered, "Introduce, introduce," he reminded her of something. She wanted to see some samples of magical water, didn't she? If the potion is good, she will sign a contract. If the potions are distributed to the guard team, it would be very beneficial for her. The alchemist's eyes welled up with tears as she took his hand, feeling very grateful. "That's wonderful. You helped me when I was shipping from the store, helping me place a large order. Now I feel so grateful, but how can I repay you?" At that moment, someone opened the door and stepped in. After waiting for so long, this moment finally arrived. You didn't turn around, but just glanced back at Marcus standing at the door, saying that everyone else should leave, only he needed to stay. He coldly said that this old man had something personal to discuss with you. The paladin was taken aback by Marcus's sudden appearance and immediately asked, "What brings you here, Holy Sword?" The other party looked at her thoughtfully and then replied with a hint of sarcasm. "Turns out this young lady is already deaf at such a young age." He gestured for her to be quiet and listened to every emphasized word he said. "I told you to step aside. The men here have matters to resolve among themselves." She responded indifferently, "What you said is really hard to hear. You and the hunter Kim have personal matters to discuss, right?" Marcus repeated his request once more. "You should step outside." "I've said it for the third time now." Suddenly, the paladin hurriedly interrupted. "Saying it once didn't work. Well, saying it for the third and fourth time still won't work. Kim, you're already an old holy man. Have you forgotten even this basic principle?" Marcus gritted his teeth at her blunt words. "The Gong family has officially joined the 5 major guilds. Attacking him means declaring war on us. I don't know what you're planning, but don't expect the guards to just stand by while you do as you please." In the end, he only managed to utter one word. The holy sword's hand rested on the hilt, preparing to draw it from the sheath. Indeed, every guild claims to be in the same boat. We all know that. The other party, hearing this, looked confused and asked, I'm increasingly not understanding what you're trying to say. The paladin mirrored the action, his expression still oddly calm. Holy sword, I've heard enough rumors that you occasionally go hunting. Of course, we're not so free as to interfere in your personal matters. But if that happens in front of me, it will be a completely different story. I'd bet my life to stop you. Marcus glared, full of provocation. Do you really think you can stop me? The paladin was well aware of the power gap between the two sides, so he basically didn't dare to assert anything. No, I'll do my best to fight you and will die. Instead, he boldly declared, but when I die, your reputation will be forever tied to the name of a disgusting murderer who kills innocent people. Holy sword, if you want to live the rest of your life with that title, then go ahead and attack me. This is the weakness of the holy sword that you learned from the previous playthrough. The memory of the Gong family rewound to a time in the past when Marcus had asked to probe the paladin. Miss Holy Knight, you are the only one here who would never harm anyone right good. Then I'll try to trust you. Now looking back, the holy sword is very weak in front of innocent people. From that, one can conclude that what you brought along is probably the only innocent among the leaders. In the guild here, according to the holy sword's violent perspective, someone who has never killed anyone is a holy knight. This is a good person. Besides, there's one more person at that moment. The alchemist rushed out to block Gong's path, his words dripping with a threatening undertone. Sir, while I don't know what's happening, this customer is my benefactor. Even though Babylon doesn't have laws like the real world, if you touch my benefactor, I won't forgive you even if you're a holy swordsman. Marcus was momentarily stunned, the earnest tone of the other person still echoing in his ears. A few days ago, those thugs were causing chaos here. I'm really sorry, but I must ask you to leave my store. I officially request you to get out of here. The paladin could guarantee that this was a type of harm to those who couldn't fight back against a holy swordsman, but the only one who could stop the holy swordsman was only this good lady. At that moment, Marcus felt incredibly conflicted. What should he do? If he wanted to fall into the gutter, he had to get along with that person. His hand suddenly pulled away from the sword hilt, and he turned away, preparing to leave. Not forgetting to leave behind an excuse. It's just that today isn't the day. He sighed in relief, having completed the second condition. Before the holy swordsman wanted to kill him, he at least had to say a word or two. Suddenly, a strong shout rang out. To you, holy swordsman, I'll wait for you tomorrow at the empty lot to the north. He announced with a determined expression, if you come, great, if not, that's fine, too. I'll wait for myself if you want to know what kind of person I am. Then come tomorrow. He didn't respond, not even a word. His sharp gaze glanced back, following Marcus's leisurely retreat. Someone sharply remarked sarcastically, It's truly a death wish, but does he want to meet the demon killer tonight? The other party asked in confusion, referring to the holy swordsman famously nicknamed the Demon Killer. Why is the paladin so quick to deny it? It's not famous, but at least everyone in the 5 great clans knows her. She calmly recounted the image of Marcus standing silently before a pristine white flower. In the pouring rain, the daughter and son-in-law of that man appeared killed by the murderers. He didn't like to share his own story, so I can't be sure. Marcus could only listen silently for that reason. So the holy swordsman had no feelings towards the murderers. Well, from the beginning, there was no evidence, so we were just outsiders. Of course, but everything is a secret. After understanding the story thoroughly, the old elf quickly confirmed the information. Yes, he did talk to me, too. Only the granddaughter and grandson are left alive. He turned to question, Why are you only saying this now? The old man retorted, You didn't ask. The paladin continued to express his personal opinion. It's not that I can't understand the holy swordsman, but if you're in the guard team, you'll have to deal with all kinds of criminals. There are times when I talk to them and wonder, is it really okay to let people like that go? The ones who deserve to die have already been killed. Sometimes even I get tempted like that. Half of her face turned slightly to the side. Everyone in the large guild had their own story. You've joined our side so gradually you'll know. But there are countless rotten things to see how you'll react. Realizing he was leading the conversation too far, the paladin shook his head. The story had taken a different turn. The corners of his mouth curled into a smile, though not very bright. It was quite rare. So what's the price of poison here? The budget for the guard team is always in deficit, so if the price is too high, it's quite troublesome. As time passed to the next day, the countdown clock in the central area was ticking down every second. Everyone here was engaged in lively discussions together as the Gong family stepped out from the woods, staring intently at their phones, the atmosphere reminiscent of their previous game. You ponder quietly, but there are still some differences as you look at the breaking news on the screen about the masked attacker on the 10th floor. After finishing the task, you quickly tuck it away in your pocket. Nothing else matters. It's just you who is the difference. At that moment, Marcus unexpectedly appears across from you. It turns out you were really waiting alone. The brutal images from the past flicker back. On one side, he challenges you and you feel confident that you can escape even if you're alone. After all, someone who has killed many times like you must be quite confident in their abilities. Hearing this, you can only fall silent, unable to refute his words. The old elf kindly asks, "Hey, are you okay?" You tighten your shirt as a way to reassure yourself, "I'm fine, just my heart hurts a little." Once you calm down, you present a long story about the Holy Sword. "I have a long story to tell you. Please tell me why the Holy Sword wants to kill me." Marcus smugly accuses you, "So you really are a thief. You must realize what your crime is." However, your next words are something he never expected. "It's because of the skill insight, right?" Marcus is taken aback. "How did you know?" Suddenly, you clasp your hands together earnestly. "Please believe what I'm about to say. It's hard to earn everyone's trust." You analyze silently. Everyone has their own stubbornness. With the Holy Sword, it's the skill of the old man in front of you who has lived his whole life with that stubbornness, so it has become his way of life. This is the matter that the Holy Sword convinced himself to deny the life he has lived all this time, no matter how absurd or difficult it is, betting his life is worth it. Another shocking declaration comes from the Gong family, "Holy Kim, I have a seer," which leaves Marcus astonished. "Why are you being so honest?" "To be precise, I have a skill that allows me to make predictions thanks to this skill." "That's how I know you have insight. If this continues, the Holy Sword will want to kill me, so I asked why you have to kill me." He listens silently to every word. At that moment, the Holy Sword has already spoken. "Right. Based on that skill, there's a number above my head, 4093. Marcus doesn't respond immediately, even challenging you with a serious tone. "Try to guess." His hand behind his back grips the sword, ready. "Guess how many fingers my left hand is holding up. If you're a seer, this shouldn't be hard, right?" You ponder quietly. Indeed, this is the way to go. The only thing left is to wait for the right moment to act. If you can't guess, it's because of your lies, which you feel almost certain about, just as you predicted. Marcus was about to rush in at an unbelievable speed when he suddenly stopped, seeing the opponent take their own life. Marcus's eyes widen in disbelief. A notification immediately appears. "You have died. You will return 24 hours back in time, right to the moment both of you stand facing each other." Marcus poses a riddle. "Guess." The Gong family finally speaks. "You're trying to hide your hand behind your back, right? You're going to tell me to guess how many fingers you raised, and you think if I really am a seer, this shouldn't be difficult, right?" You try to convince him. "Holy Sword, trust me. I really have this skill. And if you kill me now, it would be as easy as flipping your hand, but without me, you won't be able to safely pass the 12th floor. Suddenly, a voice interrupts. "Wait, I'll wait." Marcus remains determined to refute you, but that alone isn't enough. What if you have clairvoyance or mind reading, not prophecy? What do you have to guarantee that you are a seer? You silently agree with those words. You're right, just once isn't enough. The notification keeps popping up. "You have died. You'll return 24 hours before at a different time before being revived." Marcus pointed his sword straight at your face, and that wasn't enough. You had to prove that you had no other skills. Let's say you understood very well that convincing someone is not an easy task. The familiar message appeared. "You have died. You will return 24 hours before." You gathered your strength to convey your thoughts. "Kim, you can't kill me here. There will be many injured on the 12th floor. I'm serious." That person was an old man, a leader in some field, making it even harder. Your expression gradually became extremely urgent. "Please believe me. It's okay, I can keep trying as many times as I want. Even if it takes a week or half a month, I'm confident that I can convince him." The message kept repeating, "You will return 24 hours before Gong's death." Longer than his life after so many attempts, you now calmly said a few short sentences. "I'm not claiming I'm innocent, nor do I want to. Please forgive me for my whole life." The other party hesitated and asked, "Then what is it?" Your hand suddenly spread wide. "In 5 days, please don't kill me. Follow me and see for yourself. Then judge whether I truly am the one who deserves to die or not." Seeing the other party hesitate for a long time, Gong gradually lost patience. It seemed he still didn't believe you. Now you would make your final move and start prophesying. "One day soon you will say this to me. If I say this, you will believe I'm a prophet." What I'm saying is that the system suddenly revealed itself and chimed, "O angels, O conquerors of the tower!" To Marcus's astonishment, the surprising truth was revealed. The Sword Emperor and the old elf were equally astonished. Gong was extremely confident in his assertion. "I don't know whose nickname that is, but just saying it is enough, right? The system reminded you that you would have to undergo a test of trust. The answer you were looking for would help you know who you are." Marcus asked again to confirm, "You mean in 5 days?" "That's right," the melodious sound continued. "So you will understand yourself." The image of the other party reflected deeply in your blue eyes. "In 5 days I will follow you. I will closely observe all your actions, words, attitudes, and postures. In the end, we will reach a consensus. Then I will decide whether you deserve to die or not. Is that okay?" Gong naturally wouldn't refuse. "Yes, that's fine." You bowed deeply, sincerely thanking him. A scene of bloodshed flashed through your mind. All right, the promise of the guild leader Kim is that he won't kill Gong. Just then, news broke that a warrior had perished, followed by the ruins, creating a very desolate image. For now, the Sword Saint would trust you. You must meet all the conditions to prevent any sacrifices. Useless on the 12th floor, a rare, bright smile appeared on Gong's lips. "So, Sword Saint, I'll see you on the next floor." The system's voice rang out again. "O conquerors of the tower," you commanded to send it out. "May luck always be by your side." You stood before the chaotic battlefield. Everyone was shouting loudly, "Be careful of the arrows. What is this all about?" "Oh, those are the warriors saving the Empire!" The warrior demanded firmly, "Please help us rescue the Empire." The announcement displayed the deathmatch supply. "Oh, those are the brave warriors saving the Empire." That warrior demands, "Please help us rescue the Empire." The notice displays the decisive supply battle. The mission's goal is a disaster that has struck the Empire. The legendary Demon King's existence has finally awakened the immensely powerful demon army. Cruel and cunning, that guy first planned to cut off the Empire's supplies. Please protect the port. This battle will be the first step in our rescue. The Empire, however, if it fails, the 12th floor will not be opened. Until now, it seems just like last time, but the Dark Sorceress boldly calls out, "Dark Dragon, assemble." Immediately following is a powerful declaration. From now on, the Dark Dragon will have command of this battle. Behind her, there are comrades ready for battle. She assigns tasks. John Moomin's defense team will take the left flank and break through Manson John, while Sang Rion will handle the right flank with the Dark Dragon. We will break through the center. If anyone is dissatisfied with the orders, we will deal with it after the battle. Let's speak under the banner of the Dark Sorceress. If there's time to shout now, let's catch another nah. Everyone charges into battle, voices excitedly overlapping a chorus of enthusiasm, shouting, "Come on, stick close to me if any of you die first." Then that one will start their journey to hell. The paladin, while slaying a goblin, keeps reminding everyone of this. All troops assist John Moomoon so those arrogant wild boars don't get isolated. Harry laughs heartily while trampling another one. Aha, ha, acting separately is a death sentence right here. Let's act as a group thoroughly. Ryan Du gently urges, feeling everyone's enthusiasm. Let's take it slow. Don't overexert yourselves and help each other out. The battlefield is a wasteland, smoke rising everywhere, a multitude of techniques clashing, creating extremely deafening sounds. Oh, Savas immediately turns to call his subordinates. Look, the warriors in this world are unhesitatingly pushing back the monsters. Our Empire's warriors are joining in. Come on. All troops follow me. His words further strengthen everyone's faith. The gods have always protected our Empire from behind. The old elf asks, "Han Gong, are you okay?" He reminds the other guy to remember that if he does this, he will attract less attention. Yet he can't help but smile contentedly, continuing to expose the one who always keeps a close watch on the Gong family. Who would want to stand out in front of others? Not like you. If you do this, then won't you attract less attention than before? You just casually reply, it will be like that anyway. It seems he has accepted his fate, but this mood isn't too bad. The old elf feels quite surprised, his tone somewhat teasing. "Hey, kid. Still, you've grown up a bit, right?" Gomra just laughs. "Grown up? I think I should prepare something." Without noticing the shadow lurking behind the line of soldiers, as if sensing a strange presence, he instinctively turns his head back in utter shock, wondering what he's doing there. Marcus just reminds him of what they had agreed upon earlier. "I said I would keep an eye on you." He repeats once more, "I told you earlier I will watch you for 5 days and decide whether to kill you or not." You would never have guessed in your dreams. That guy is the type who says what he means and means what he says. "Are you really planning to watch me 24/7? Immediately received a firm confirmation, of course it is. The way he swung his sword towards the group of Lin in the distance only added to their confusion. Even the older ones had to deal with the monster, right? The rewards will be given based on the order of contributions to the battle. He calmly explained that we also use swords when we have the time, so there's no need to worry. The truth was laid bare right before the eyes of the old soldiers of the Gong family, who could only feel helpless. This is really something. Suddenly, two people rushed out to block him as he approached the Black Witch. They stopped him, asking if there was something he needed to discuss with the president. She seemed very skeptical. The hunter, Prince Kim, didn't have any spare time at all right now, so he had to quickly wrap things up. I'm busy directing the guild, so if possible, please finish this within 30 seconds. Team 4, don't run away foolishly. And just stay in position. Take the opportunity to push forward. The Black Dragon Lord has a reward for handling the 10th floor Black Witch, and you must have that right. So he immediately pulled out to prove that this was the reward. The mini-map could show both enemy and ally troops, and the entire battlefield which successfully caught her attention. Really, the opponent dared to assure that if I was lying, what could be done about it? It's true. She quickly grabbed Gong's hand, asking what he had been doing that he just arrived now. Tell me, where's the boss monster? He hesitated to answer, although he couldn't see clearly because he was surrounded by monsters on the map. It was over there. The Black Witch kept urging him, repeating, agree to use the skill. Hurry up! The situation was urgent. The Gong family could only negotiate, okay, I agree to use the Black Dragon Lord's skill, while internally lamenting that when this person loses their spirit, their true nature is revealed, A gust of wind erupted around both of them as the skill was activated, transporting them to the air, where they could observe the entire situation. The witch urgently asked, where? He quickly pointed over there. The two once again used the space jump and quickly dove down towards the target they had just located. In that decisive moment, she hurriedly asked about Gong's weapon proficiency. Can you use a sword? He honestly replied, enough to catch that guy. After saying that, the Black Witch gathered all her strength and threw Gong down, then go. The sword cut through the air like it was tearing space apart, leaving a long, endless trail of red light followed by the green liquid of the goblins splattering everywhere. The nearby monsters saw this and started chattering in their own language, their faces smeared with the blood of their enemies. He turned his head at a 45-degree angle. Why do you all want to be cut in half too? They were terrified and immediately turned to flee. The others still hadn't grasped what had just happened. Those guys are running away! They immediately took advantage of the situation and chased after them, not letting a single one escape. The wretched elves at the same time, the Black Witch was straining herself, shouting loudly, ah, ah, ah! Her face couldn't hide her joy. Well done, Prince Kim. Not even an hour has passed and you've already completed the mission. Perhaps the hunters have died, not even 50 people, maybe not even 30. In the face of the endless praise from the opponent, what could be better than this, the Gong family thought. Could it be that this person? The reason she had been expressionless before was that images from her past briefly flashed through his mind. Initially, many hunters had died due to being burned, right? His face, usually so serious and tense, now looks joyful because the damage was minimal. At that moment, you realize he's actually a surprisingly simple person, depending on how few victims there are, whether he feels happy or sad. He raises both hands, wanting to calm the overly excited atmosphere. Wow, you're too excited, calm down a bit. However, the dark sorceress can't really control herself. When people are excited, they should just let it out. Once again, Khan praises you. You really did a great job, and a rare bright smile appears on your lips. Handling it with so few casualties today should be a point of pride. Gong family listens intently to every word, even if they want to claim the reward for themselves. It's truly lucky to have a new hero like you. She has completely opened her heart to you now, and from today, all media outlets in the tower will be targeting you. So get ready. Your consciousness seems to grasp a new truth. That's exactly it. Without hesitation, you accept her handshake, receiving attention from many people, being honored as a hero, feeling a mix of envy and rivalry. Let's wrap everything up happily, but not to the extent of gaining recognition from these people. Everyone exchanges joyfully after the fierce battle. Those who survived are very positive, even though they can't say they tried their best, but the celebration scene is livelier than ever. You could say those who have given their all want to shake hands with you. Yet Marcus still stands quietly apart, the Holy Black Dragon Master. Besides, many others have truly lived positively. I want to live a life recognized by those who desire the same. And everything ends beautifully. You and the Dark Sorceress have formed a friendly bond. I want to protect these people. The display system is calculating contributions just in time, ensuring the Demon Lord doesn't mock or belittle those who have lived positively. Not wasting time on despicable actions or inconsistency, I simply want to be acknowledged and recognized, and the sound rings out again. Completing the calculations, the old elf suddenly calls out the name of the young one. The Gong family's wish is to receive their respect, even if it's an impossible dream. I want to live like that too. He sighed, truly a kid worth watching. Next came the appearance of the contribution ranking, with the first place being none other than young Master Kim. Second place is the dark female spirit. Third is the cult judge. Fourth is the poisoner. Fifth is the Sung Kisa. Sixth is the count, and seventh is the sword saint. You seem to have made up your mind. You want to change a bit in this changed world. Your gaze quickly shifts to the screen. The order has changed compared to before, and the system immediately announces that those attacking high positions can enter the 12th floor first. The Dark Sorceress confidently asserts that with this momentum, they might even reach the 20th floor. She quickly adds that before those attacking high positions receive their rewards, others cannot enter the 12th floor. She continues, "At least I had predicted that 5,000 people would be lost. The start has been very good. However, the Gong family thinks differently. If we just let it be, we'll have to sacrifice a lot on the 12th floor, looking towards Ryanju, who is starting to move. You consider that we would especially lose the only talent who can connect with the outside world. If that's the case, it won't just be 5,000 people, but possibly 50,000. 500,000 people will be sacrificed. In a flash, it was your turn to be enveloped by the energy that lifted you up. Your eyes slowly opened as you arrived, and the final decision was that you would take on the team. Everyone around you gradually stepped into a different space. Mun let out a loud ho-ho, and even the witch seemed surprised, not expecting to end up in a place like this. Heretic scampered over to the hunter Prince Kim, exclaiming how amazing it was. He kept asking how he managed to team up with the Black Dragon Lord like that. Was the guess about the boss monster's location due to the reward from the previous stage? Gong quickly raised his hand to interrupt, then turned his face to the side and declared, "I have something to say to everyone." This made Marcus, who was far away, worry about Gong, who couldn't hide his smug expression. "All right, St. Kim will also take credit." A loud voice rang out, "Yesterday I mentioned something to everyone. You recalled telling them that if one day you needed their help, they should definitely accept." Heretic cheerfully replied, "Oh yes, of course I remember." The others listened attentively to that request. "Now please accept to help me. Raise your hands up. For the next 5 days, everyone should stay here and do nothing." You concluded with a bold statement, "If that's the case, then in 5 days I will reach the 20th floor," the goddess Jiang system gently announced. "Oh, brave warriors, those who choose to climb the tower from the 11th to the 20th floor, your faith is intertwined with a few shouts from the 11th to the 20th floor." Suddenly, countless voices echoed from the 11th floor, "Open the 11th floor." The image of the magical battle from the past flickered, and it continued. It will be verified returning to the present before the bewildered eyes of everyone. A question arose. "Do you remember what I said yesterday?" The system earnestly and softly assured, "You will find the answer, and the answer you find will remind you of who you are." Calmly, you opened your mouth. "I asked everyone to listen to me when the time comes. Please listen. This is the answer you found." The warm sunlight shone inside the castle. Along with that was your serious admonition. "Just stay here and do nothing for 5 days, if you can do that. And then I promise to conquer the 20th floor in 5 days. Hearing this, the Black Witch couldn't help but be confused. "Wait, 5 days later?" She asked again to confirm. "Did I hear that wrong?" "Don't joke around. It's not funny at all." You calmly reaffirmed, "Everyone heard it right. I'm not joking." This directly left everyone speechless. The Black Witch bluntly retorted, "No way." Without any hesitation, she kept questioning you. "Do you know that? It took us years to conquer the 10th floor. Sure, we just conquered the 11th floor in under an hour, but you're way too confident." "Who do you think you are?" Unexpectedly, the other party bowed their head sincerely. "Please," you cautiously explained, "I conquered the 10th floor. Of course, I did it for myself. But I also shared the rewards and benefits gained from the 10th floor with everyone here." Ryanju thoughtfully placed the paper fan under his chin, considering that the information about the 11th floor and the boss's location was beneficial for everyone. Mun also pondered, listening to every word. "I have gained the right to request everyone's help." Gong was trying to persuade them to the end, "Even if I conquer the 20th floor or not. Please wait for these 5 days." The system suddenly announced, Congratulations, Hunter Kim Gong, you have ranked first in conquering the 11th floor. Just a moment later, you completely regained your confident demeanor. Please, everyone. The system continues to assign rewards for level 11, and then two screens with different tones appear simultaneously as the guardian goddess presents a reward for you. The Demon King of Thuvu offers you a reward slightly, tilting his head back to reveal a smug smile, a provocative thought clearly flashing in his mind. Demon King, huh? Are you disappointed that we haven't fought yet? Next, the Demon King of Thuvu suggests you choose a reward, suddenly turning to scrutinize Mumun, standing at a distance, then observing the Paladin group. The Demon King of Thuvu hints that you can also refuse the reward, the bulletin board continuously displaying the Demon King's curiosity about your choice and wanting to entice you to choose. However, ultimately, without receiving an answer, the Demon King of Thuvu doesn't understand your intentions. The heretic is the first to bring this up. It's quite simple. You casually walk on the tiled floor while analyzing the situation. Hunter Kim Gong has shared information about conquering level 11 with us, and in return he asks us to listen to him. We agreed that if it's not something impossible, we would follow his lead. The heretic leisurely repeats all of Gong's requests. All of us must stay still and do nothing for 5 days. It's not that simple because the media will definitely be in an uproar during these days. Nevertheless, based on your personal belief, you calmly agree, but it's not impossible, right? So I agree. The dark sorceress finds herself in a difficult situation. Well, it's not impossible, but before she could finish, the heretic interrupted. You promised, Long Master. She helplessly holds her forehead, ultimately having to concede, you're right, we did promise. Moon, hearing this, has no intention of opposing further. Although I don't understand what you're thinking, Ryanju asks again to confirm that you're saying this because you have a plan, right? Right, I quietly agree with that decision. I understand. I promise silence for 5 days. The others seem to be gradually convinced as well. If everyone feels this way, then I think I can wait 5 days. Marcus, who has been standing in the shadows, casually speaks up, his voice cold as ice mixed with steel. I never promised that. The Sword King bluntly declares, I only made one promise to keep an eye on this guy for 5 days. There's no reason for me to follow your requests. He firmly refuses to stay here like the others. If you go to level 20, then I will follow as promised, he agrees reluctantly. Deep down knowing there's no way to turn the situation around, planning to defeat the Demon King alone, but having the Holy Sword is still fine. I have no reason to refuse him. After arranging everything, the Dark Sorceress and Moon fall silent, listening as Gong speaks gently. Now everyone. With confident eyes, he sincerely expresses his gratitude, thanking everyone for their help. Each person wears an unpredictable expression. After speaking, he decisively turns and leaves. 5 days later, when opening the large door, blinding light instantly floods in at that moment. Gong and the old elf are taken aback by the unusual sight, observing the surroundings. The old man, bewildered, says, all NPCs are frozen. You quickly realize the issue is that the mission hasn't started yet. The old elf wonders about the mission while Marcus follows closely behind them, keeping a minimal distance. Calmly, you explain, I haven't chosen a position yet. The Empire doesn't have either a Grand Sorcerer or a Chief Knight, so the mission from level 12 to level 20 has hunters standing in various professions. You make a guess based on the clues from level 11 that as soon as you enter there will be a mission. That must be the normal process. The image of the mighty sword of Savas appears, please help us protect the Empire. At this moment, the system announces that the mission for level 12 has been issued. Next, Gongza and Marcus simultaneously turn their eyes to one spot, but we're quite vague at level 12, right? Exactly. Why not let the mission remain unassigned forever? The mission only begins when everyone has chosen their profession, which means under the gloomy sky they quickly approach the city gate. If we don't choose a profession, the mission won't start. Stepping outside, your analytical voice continued to flow steadily. The invasion of the Demon King's army wouldn't happen, and the Empire's army wouldn't fight against them either, so the Sword King issue is coming up. Notifications from the Demon King kept popping up. The Demon King of Thuvu instructed you to select a reward and forced you to choose, slowly accumulating magic in your palm. On one hand, you casually turned to ask the old elf what would happen if the Demon King died in this state. He was surprised and replied, what? A virtual map opened up in the middle, showing a large red dot as you elaborated further for the other party to understand clearly. I'm asking if I defeat the boss before the mission starts, what will happen? In the dark, murky space, Gong provided a rather simple final answer. No one would receive the Demon King's reward, so we wouldn't have a traitor. The Demon King would be disrupted before he could do anything. The words on the pitch-black screen displayed one after another. The Demon King of Thu Vu was furious, and right after that, an unclear entity suddenly tore through the sky and came crashing down. The Demon King roared in anger, questioning, "How dare you?" It arrogantly shouted at Gong, relentlessly heading in the direction of the goddess's hero, truly outrageous to dare come here without making a choice. Yet your attitude remained utterly nonchalant. "What nonsense are you talking about?" I clearly made my choice. The Demon King asked, "What?" But before he could finish his sentence, a sharp sword was pressed against his neck, forcing him to turn back without any hesitation. "See, this is the optimal choice." The corners of your mouth curled into a cunning smile. "I'll kill the Demon King before the mission starts, so there won't be any hunters or citizens of the Empire that need to die, and of course we won't have a traitor. Do you understand? This is a perfect ending without any sacrifices." In the end, there was an expression filled with tranquility, as if shedding some of the burdens carried for so long, because I'm still a kid and I really hate bad endings. I guess I'm just that kind of person. If possible, I prefer a perfect ending, and to achieve that, you don't hesitate to eliminate anything that stands in your way. So unfortunately, you have to die, because if you keep being a hindrance, I won't get to see that ending. The Demon King roared in anger. "How dare you?" Gong provoked him, charging forward to attack with a twisted face that looked extremely terrifying, trying to stop me without the Empire's assistance. Just then, the golden clock struck 6, and you raised your sword high into the sky, radiating a brilliant glow all around. "I don't need anyone's help." Gong leaped into the air. With an incredibly confident expression and a surge of strong belief in a frozen world, I will survive by grasping the sword like the hand of a clock. A hero is destined to be alone, and the 5 days of immortality have begun. A gentle phrase floated by like a butterfly awakening that on a rainy day. It resembled a pile of thick black mud with ugly red eyes. The croaking of some animal continuously echoed croak, croak above a rock where a green frog sat croaking. Unbeknownst to it, the black mass was slowly approaching from behind its body, gradually stretching out, then swallowing the green frog whole. The entire process was silent. The sound of the sky falling each heavy raindrop the mysterious creature was slowly digesting afterward. A green frog slowly emerged from the black sludge, its vision becoming clearer. It looked up at the sky, watching each raindrop fall, and in its heart the sound of rain began to form. A green frog slowly emerges from the pile of black mud. The view becomes clearer. It tilts its head up to the sky, watching each raindrop fall, and suddenly the sound of rain forms in its heart. Like all frogs, it croaks the familiar sound, ribbit, ribbit, its silhouette looking incredibly lonely. It wants to live just a little longer when the Demon King strikes down with a powerful claw. This causes the ground to crack open, dust rising in a haze. At that moment, the notification appears, "You have died." Suddenly, a hand holding a pen appears, writing the first stroke as the old spirit leisurely comments while crossing its arms. With both hands crossed over its chest, the zombie says, "Your sword stance is not good at all. You're just swinging your sword with all your might." Of course, that's already frightening enough. Carefully watching the shadow soaring above it, replies, "But as long as the opponent can guess your sword's direction, they will avoid it." "What else?" The old spirit agrees. "That's right." Another familiar notification appears, "You have died." The second stroke of ink is drawn on the hand marking the prison of time. In the midst of it all, Gong takes a sip of water to rest and regain strength, then continues to wield his sword against the Demon King's shadow, that thick black sludge suddenly rushing towards him. Just as Gong wasn't prepared, the familiar words appear again, "You have died." Another stroke is boldly marked on his fair skin, indicating how many times he has swum against the current of time. If I continue to carry out the mission in the usual way, what would happen? He recalls the horrific images of war, the bodies of soldiers lying everywhere. All around, amidst the endless chaos, an unending war will occur, causing countless soldiers to sacrifice. Each time a soldier falls, at least 25 years of life will be lost. Throughout that long, arduous process, alone, Gong can only move forward. 10 people would mean 200 years. 100 people would mean 2000 years to save that time. He cannot choose any role. The loop happens again. "You have died." The notification appears, and he will return 24 hours back. His tangled thoughts continue. If so, I must prepare. His spirit trapped in this body forever, the old spirit stands by, continuously reminding him. But the issue is, even if he can guess the sword's direction, he must see if the opponent can avoid it. Remember, the weak zombie is struggling hard. Hearing someone ramble in his ear makes him extremely annoyed. You talk too much. Once again, you have died. The old man's voice is as loud as ever. The problem is, I still haven't mastered aura. The aura must flow and move evenly throughout the body. He tries his best to use the sword to block the falling rocks with all his life. It sounds easy, but the result is still the same. You have died. The Demon King's movements suddenly stop. On the surface, it seems like a kind suggestion, but the tone can't hide the contempt. You should follow the order, brave warrior. It continues, only those who inherit the position of the kingdom can do so. However, before it can finish, Gong bursts forth with willpower like a storm. Today I will fight you one-on-one, Demon King. Surprised, he suddenly swings his sword. What is this? Gong mutters to himself. The warrior has struck the Demon King. And the loop has repeated once more, you have died. The declaration is loud and clear. The Demon King has slain the warrior. Now what is there to cry about? The result is the same. You have died. Gong raises his #1 sword to his face, unable to hide his smug expression. Come on, Demon King, I am the sword of the Empire. The Demon King also prepares to swing. Ready to swing the massive weapon with a fierce momentum as if wanting to crush everything? Well then, show me. He stands right under the Demon King's feet, not showing any weakness, responding to the majesty enveloping him. I will show you that even so, the process is not simple. You have died. The long hand and short hand of the golden watch point to the number 6 in Roman numerals, the source of maximum power. Spreading around Gong's body, his sword is the only hour hand just in a fleeting second. After that, the long hand shifts slightly and he continues to think. Surrounding Gong's body is the sword's aura, which is the only moment of time, just a fleeting second. After that, the long sword slightly deviates and he keeps pondering. So in this world, if you want a second to pass, your sword must move before that second to gather and block the fierce attack of the enemy. I'm just a sword living in a moment. The long sword quickly moved to number 7, but this world continued to exist thanks to that brief moment. Fleeting memories rushed through his mind like a slow-motion film. Gong was leisurely playing cards while the water rose to the horizon. Then came the moment he tried to convince Marcus, which stemmed from a raindrop that reminded him of fighting alongside the Dark Sorceress and the Empire's soldiers. I want to live forever, but I can only live for a second. My hands have been filled with black ink. I've already lived my own life. At one of the stops during his time-traveling journey, the Dark Sorceress welcomed him with a bright smile, saying, Well done, my goodness. In less than an hour, he had already completed this gate. There must be at least 40 hunters who won't die. Another stroke was added to his wrist, since there was no more space left above. She praised him once again, saying, Well done, my goodness. In less than 50 minutes, you've completed this gate. The advice combined with his defensive soldiers was truly wonderful. There must be at least 30 hunters who won't have to sacrifice, and the black ink continued to stretch down to his arm. The Dark Sorceress hugged herself, her face showing relief from the bottom of her heart. In less than 40 minutes, surely 20 hunters won't die, and another line was added to mark the number of times. The Dark Sorceress's eyes were filled with indescribable happiness. It was truly unbelievable. Well done, Gong. We've healed Sir Joshua and fought the golem together. It seems that about 10 people will survive on this battlefield. It turns out this is possible. The Demon King's voice echoed with anger mixed with suspicion. Why are you smiling? Gong honestly replied without any deceit because of that happiness. It asked back with disdain, You're about to die and you're still happy. His eyes shone bright red like blood full of pride. You don't understand, you probably won't ever understand, he said, making the Demon King roar in anger. Truly arrogant. He raised his large sword before the impending storm while Gong remained strangely indifferent. I'm just stating the truth. It couldn't help but sneer, How pathetic, announcing once again, You have died under the vast blue sky, as he let his thoughts drift into the void. But I didn't give up. There's no reason to give up. My sword is much faster than yesterday. Suddenly another voice rang out. Just now Gong firmly asserted that tomorrow it would be even faster, while the Dark Sorceress growled, making her expression unclear. I just confirmed it. Kim Gong, your reason is quite simple because I'm still alive. She took his hand and announced softly, No one has died. She held tightly onto his hand, which was covered in ink marks. Of course, that was just a metaphor. I checked in the party and no one has died. Although there were some fools who were injured, the Dark Sorceress leaned her head against his chest, tears streaming down her face because she couldn't contain her emotions, but no one has died. Thank you, really thank you. Yet Gong still reminded himself that he wanted to live a little longer as the Demon King's rage reached its peak. You dare to stop me alone! Gong pointed his sword straight at the opponent, for the warrior had fought alone, while the opponent disdainfully spat out 2 words. Foolish! He nimbly jumped to dodge a sweeping attack, every movement not daring to delay even for a second as the Demon King raised his sword high, dark energy swirling arrogantly. My shadow is the malice of your kind. Gong gripped the first sword tightly with both hands, energy gradually accumulating in one place through his call, "Come here." The symbol of the Demon King suddenly cracked a burst of red light, exploding right in front of me, along with the appearance of a figure from behind. Sorry, but the dark sorcerer made a grand entrance that I couldn't resist. I wanted to stay quietly in the room like you said, but I just couldn't wait. So I followed to see what you were up to. In such a tense situation, she calmly asked, as if nothing was wrong, "Are you playing something interesting?" I casually pointed my thumb at the powerful Demon King in the distance and said, "It's a fun warrior game." She nodded, understanding. That makes sense. You do look like a creature worth hunting. The 2 of us quickly took our positions perfectly in sync, chatting away happily, but there was nothing joyful about it. I got you, caught everything. Are you a thief? You're ruining the mood for everyone. Hunting is the best thing in the world, right? Exactly, the Demon King growled, each word dripping with anger. You all mischievously blinked, mixed with the column of the house. Sorry, I was planning to fight you alone. But then I thought warriors fight in groups, right? You'll understand. Right, the black goo all over you keeps bubbling trying to cover the sun with one hand. The Demon King's ethereal body slowly melted into a pile of sludge. You won't be able to use this sword anymore, sharp claws extended to assert dominance. A hoarse voice summoned the 100 demons from beneath the Demon King, thousands of goblins with sharp teeth rising up screaming as if they wanted to tear apart the very fabric of space. Answer me. The dark sorcerer looked in shock at the sudden appearance of the monsters. This is Marcus, who knows where he came from, suddenly appearing and causing public panic not within our reach. Holy sword, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and help us. You have your sword ready at your hip, right? Just take a look. He just fought that filthy water for less than 30 minutes, I said, smiling gently. Few really understand what this young man has truly been through. That's right, I will take another minute, then I need your help, a confusing voice said. Oh, dark sorcerer suddenly reached out to the side. All right, both of you hold my hand. We're leaving here. The corner of Gong's mouth lifted slightly at a 45-degree angle. No, it's fine. You resolutely pointed your finger to the sky, summoning the 100 demons, making the Demon King a fan exclaim in shock. What? The system immediately announced, you have activated a skill, as black smoke swirled around Gong's feet, preparing for the fierce battle ahead. A large leopard suddenly dashed past its muzzle covered in fresh blood. A panicked voice shouted, Is anyone here? It just chewed while savoring the delicious smell. What is that scent? Suddenly, a fluffy coat sprouted from its back, resembling human hair. It devoured its prey as if swallowing something very small, and each time it swallowed, the prey would gain memories from previous hunts. After finishing its meal, its entire body gradually transformed into a little girl struggling to rise, followed by a panicked scream, Oh, Esther, my child! The father appeared from behind the bushes, looking extremely worried. How many times have I told you not to go outside alone? Why aren't you listening to the doctor? His body was still weak, and he suddenly froze when he saw his daughter's disheveled appearance, questioning her about her clothes. She turned her head and stared in a certain direction, letting out a short gasp. Dad! Then slowly turned back with a bright smile, still stained with a strange red blood. I feel much better now. And that was the first name of the Demon King, ending the flashback and returning to the present. The notification board displayed right above the Gong family activated skills on the ground with thick black smoke rising violently. Forming a skeletal figure, one after another appearing as if summoned from hell, his voice rose with disdain. He was curious why I chose to summon the 100 demons. The old spirit immediately confirmed the information. Yes, that's right. The opponent actively revealed that initially I was also attracted by other skills, recalling the intense lightning strike. Previously, from the Demon King, for example, the enhancement aura skill was pretty great. If I could use the light ray like the Demon King, the golden light gradually gathered in the palm of the Gong family. But upon further reflection, the difference became apparent. The system displayed a detailed information board updating the summoning of the 100 demons at SS level. The function includes summoning monsters that you have directly killed. The dead cannot inherit abilities from when they were alive, not even memories, and can only be summoned as monsters like goblin zombies or specters. He was reading intently while repeating the highlighted line about the function of summoning monsters you have directly killed, then turned back to ask the old spirit. The problem is right here. How many people do you think I've killed? He tilted his head, thinking in a cross-legged position, dismissing it, then folded two fingers as if counting something. That Fire King or whatever with you, isn't it just two? The opponent immediately agreed. That's right, it's that. Amidst a forest of specters surrounding the Long family, he smiled with delight. But why when the Sword King checked me? Did I kill over 4,000 people? It means there's a specific method to calculate deaths in this tower. Now let me ask you another question. Strangely, the army consisting of thousands and tens of thousands of skeletons directly ignored you along with that puzzling question. How many deaths do you think I've caused? The old spirit then realized something. He gaped in extreme astonishment in hand, a specter revealing a gleaming steel blade wrapped in an old tattered green cloth surrounded by black smoke. His mouth kept making strange sounds, smiling brightly as if he had known the answer long ago, saying to himself, "Ah, indeed, it's a lot, isn't it?" The dark sorcerer widened his eyes in shock at this overwhelming number. "Can't believe it. Is this really your skill?" He confidently affirmed yes, scratching his cheek awkwardly when hearing her endless compliments. "Oh my God, the skill to summon thousands of monsters. It's thanks to it that I completed the 10th floor all by myself, right?" It left you stammering for a moment as the murderous aura surged through the Demon King's body, filled with anger and doubt, making it impossible to hide. "How could you use a skill just like mine?" Gong casually slung his sword over his shoulder, his tone teasing as if he viewed his opponent as a joke. "Curious, huh? What are you going to do about it?" "I don't intend to tell you, but you provoked me and now I'm furious. I can't forgive you for this. This is unacceptable. Just how long do you plan to tease me, you person?" The furious voice of the Demon King continued to resonate, filled with my resentment and anger. "I've accepted all this hatred after all." Gong turned around immediately to rally the troops. "You Sword King, please help us fight these undead. If you join us, we definitely won't lose." The Sword King looked at the skeletons around and nodded. "I understand. It is indeed a bit annoying to fight alongside these monsters, but at least it's better than nothing." He glanced over to the other side. "Black Dragon Lord, please lend me a hand. The two of us can take them down." The Demon King, the Dark Sorceress, responded without hesitation. "Understood, but don't trip me up." After organizing the troops, he raised his sword high and shouted, "Undead army, respond immediately to Gong's call. Show us what you're made of." He pointed the first sword at the enemy and commanded, "Attack, kill them all." "The giant goblin over there." Instantly, the skeletons jumped up to surround it, trying to smash the weak skeletons, fully utilizing their massive size. The undead were knocked down to the ground. However, one of them, despite losing its head, still held a sword in its hand and struggled to rise. The monster roared in anger as if about to explode. The old elf looked at the scene and sighed as if enjoying a great play, damn it, before turning to the headless undead. They were still wildly swinging their weapons, killing each other in utter chaos. "Look at those undead, they remind me of someone," the old elf chuckled, amused. "The monster army isn't afraid of death." Those words were directed straight at the Demon King. "Isn't that a bit too much? Why does it get so furious when provoked? How dare you?" His hand clenched in anger, just a mere human from another world stepping forward. The black smoke around thickened a being without any malice, hatred, or resentment in this world. "How dare you stand in my way?" Gong pointed his sword directly at the enemy, his gaze unwavering as he boldly replied, "No matter where I come from, it doesn't matter." His momentum surged like a great wave, a massive confidence built up from a long journey, but now I stand here. If you still think this way, that I am still unworthy at this moment, a notification rang out. "The tower has granted you a new name," Gong boldly declared, "so don't interfere anymore." A brand new piece of information was instantly updated. "From now on, your name is the Death King." Gong leaped straight towards the Demon King with the brilliant first sword in hand. "The tower will prove my worth. This is the honor of the King of Death." An image of a little girl lifting something in her hand. Upon closer inspection, it was a small frog. Time did not age it. It only made it more beautiful. The fragrance emanating from its body captivated everyone, countless hands and eyes focused on one person, the little girl who had now grown up. "Lady Esther, you are the healing saint within a church, a tiny being wrapped tightly in a cloth offered to the Demon King. She can heal all kinds of ailments." The strange woman pleaded earnestly, "Please bless that poor child." Hoo, she gently spoke, You know the rules, don't you? Leave the child here and go. Come back tomorrow morning when the sun rises." She immediately bowed respectfully to thank the saintess and placed the child on the cold floor, slowly approaching to observe. With gentle hands, she cradled the baby in her arms as if something compelled the demon king to continuously inhale the sweet scent of its body. Humanity craves love so deeply. Her fingers gently poked at the tiny mouth. "Your mother chose the best roots to keep you warm, didn't she?" Seeing her, the baby showed no signs of fear. Instead, it made babbling sounds as if wanting to chat. The demon king could see the child's future destiny. "Though wrapped in roots, your path in life is bright. From now on, you won't feel pain anymore." However, the reflection on the wall looked quite bizarre. It seemed that the figure standing there was not human. The shadow gradually transformed the mouth wide open, about to swallow the miraculous child. This was the happiness of the world. The demon king coldly uttered a truly pitiful remark after devouring the flesh and bones, every memory of the child merging into Esther's body. It had cried a lot in its mother's arms. The woman was also deeply moved to have her child back. The demon king continued to whisper prayers. "Blessings. Yes, I know you've suffered greatly. I know, but from now on you won't feel pain anymore." She commanded the thing before her, her tone both cruel and compassionate. "Live long." Following her gesture, that thing was a writhing mass of black, an indistinct creature bobbing like a pool of darkness, breathing. Suddenly, a tiny hand reached up, trying to escape. Like a fragile ray of hope trying to break free from the abyss, the sound of digestion continued steadily while the demon king wore a cold smile throughout the process. The poor baby, after being reunited with its human mother, could not hide the joy of holding the child in her arms. The demon king carefully instructed in a warm, serious voice. "From now on, you'll be stronger and won't catch colds anymore. Keep loving it like you do now." She was so happy that she was speechless, that poor mother. Bowing deeply to express her gratitude, thank you so much." Next was the image of everyone performing the same respectful action. "Thank you, saintess." The rumors spread widely in all directions. She was the one who created miracles helping the sick, and the people praised her endlessly. "Thank you for helping me walk on my own 2 feet. Thanks to you, my vision has returned to some extent." At that time, the demon king was seen as the embodiment of divinity, our savior. However, there were still some forces dissatisfied with this. They murmured, "The farmers are fleeing again. It seems they have joined the saintess's army." The dark streak on the map was spreading wider, indicating the significant expansion of the demon king's influence. She was the savior of all the sick. Suddenly, a group of armored soldiers holding torches appeared. Under the strict command of the captain, the goddess's authority had been buried. So shall we let the heretical army rampage without mercy towards anyone allied with that demoness. Countless torches blazed brightly in the night, raised high to show the spirit of a relentless battle. They must burn down the demoness's lair at all costs. Amidst that sea of flames, where smoke swirled and fire consumed everything, time seemed to stand still as the demon king slowly approached, looking bewildered. The soldiers were hunting everywhere, leaving no one behind. No matter how much the people cried, they firmly believed that all those cursed were monsters. Her eyes, fierce in the battlefield, could not hide her indignation. Finally, when the pent-up resentment reached its limit, the demon king screamed in despair at those who did not regard humans as humans. The space was now filled with darkness. "I will swallow all your hatred." She returned to the chaotic battlefield between the Gong family and the current demon king. Suddenly, someone called out, "Kim Gong family!" You just slid on the ground for a while, reassuring me, "I'm fine." Gom stood before 2 choices, left or right, but your decision led to a mistake. The result was the system notification, "You have died," and it was to the left. Time once again cycled. The clock turned back 24 hours. You will be able to use the skill to summon the 100 demons again in 6 days, 23 hours, 53 minutes, and 27 seconds. The time machine of the time traveler will clearly display memories and ability stats when the user goes back in time to the chaotic reign of the Demon King. There's no sign of stopping, just the familiar words, "You died, return 24 hours back." The Gong family is fighting fiercely while the old elf quietly observes. The maintained ability stats cause harm to skills like Bahorian, and we share the same memories when going back in time. The power of the skill also lasts even after death. A notification appears you will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 5 days, 23 hours, 51 minutes, and 42 seconds. The recovery time is the same. The dark sorceress dodges attacks while frantically calling for Kim Gong. The time is getting shorter. You died, you will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 4 days. In 23 hours, 49 minutes, and 33 seconds, another day passes. So many events have happened, it feels like today is really too long from Gong forming a bond with the dark sorceress. To your brother Dung, fighting against the Demon King who continues to summon fierce monsters. The Gong family can only swing their swords tirelessly as time counts down. You died. You will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 3 days, 23 hours, 47 minutes, and 15 seconds. Before you now is an undefined red orb. You will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 2 days, 23 hours, 45 minutes, and 28 seconds. You will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 1 day, 23 hours. In 45 minutes and 28 seconds, the monsters rush in one after another, determined not to give the opponent a chance to rest. You will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 23 hours. In 41 minutes and 13 seconds, the battle is still fierce and a voice screams your name, Kim Gong. Your response remains calm as before, I'm fine. Meanwhile, your legs keep running to dodge the fierce attacks. The Demon King asks, you are destined to die, have foresight. Just then a notification appears. You are allowed to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again. The Gong family only gives vague answers, something like that. The Demon King is astonished as you begin to activate the skill. What the ghost soldiers rush out to attack the enemy's links, and the Gong family jumps up high. Putting all your strength into your arm, you strike down at the Demon King. Someone exclaims, indeed a treacherous one. The old elf praises, this skill is top-notch. Hey, zombie, try to see if you can summon overlapping ones next time. Somewhere summon again after a week. The Gong family just responds casually, come on, please. But he keeps rambling on. I think the next summon won't go well. But the one after that will be fine, don't you know? Once summoned, you will be promoted to Zombie King. A dark energy attack shoots towards you, and you angrily shout, don't talk anymore, I can't focus. The result is as expected. You died all because of... The old elf keeps talking, making both of you return 24 hours back. The Gong family holds their head in despair. Because of you, we have to wait another week. The old elf denies, it's because you're not strong enough. It's not my fault, I'm sure the system has extended it. You will be able to use the summon skill of the 100 demons again in 6 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 1 second. You're furious. You're threatening me, I swear. One day you will know my strength. He smugly retorts, I've been dead for ages. How do you plan to fight a ghost? It will only tire the opponent more. The old elf urges, then hurry up and defeat the Demon King. I don't have any skills in hand, and I still made it to the 20th floor. He immediately issues a directive. The next time will be on the left. The dark sorceress decides to trust those words. I got it! She quickly reaches out and begins to channel power. A swirling magical energy in the air creates a brilliant light, drawing a 5-pointed star hovering before her. Then slowly moves the magic circle above her head. The Demon King can only scold, you all are very good. Suddenly someone praises, ah ha ha ha. Master, you've got it right. Even in this intense situation, a completely pointless side conversation was happening right in front of the mighty Demon King. Who are you calling master? I'm still young, you know. I know all about the divine medicines you're using, you know. I'm going to start by killing the Demon King first. Just wait a moment. Seeing the enemy begin to counterattack, I gathered my focus to warn, and then on the left, the Black Dragon Lord signaled for Marcus the Holy Sword to step aside. You kept reminding the dark sorceress to move to the left next time when there was no one beside her. I'll launch my main attack on her, and she should obediently listen to me. Got it. In a flash, the dark sorceress summoned sparkling mirrors that quickly formed a surrounding formation around the Demon King under her control. A terrible explosion occurred, and in an instant it blew apart into a mass of distorted black mud, revealing its cracked, water-damaged face and the flesh beneath. You dare to provoke my pent-up hatred? Witnessing this scene left Gong in utter shock. So the Autumn Rain Demon King decided to retreat, leaving both you and the Dark Sorceress in complete confusion. Let me inform you. The Autumn Rain Demon King retreated to the 13th floor, gathering his anger and shouting, "Wait, I've got him now!" How could he run away? The Demon King heard and made excuses. Don't get cocky, I'll be back. It made you so furious that you couldn't help but curse that damn Demon King. Everything passed in peace, leaving only a pile of black mud on the ground. This was completely unworthy of what Gong had gone through, as evidenced by the arm covered in marks showing the number of times you had been submerged between the boundaries. What was it all for? The tower accepted your choice. Your hand went up to cradle one side of your face, your expression revealing undeniable disappointment just as the system announced a hidden mission. It became even more confusing when the mission for the 12th floor would be revised, and the mission for the 13th floor would be revised as well. Just like that, the same situation occurred for floors 1045, 1067, 18, and 19. Inside, you kept wondering if missions could really be revised. A brand new information board was updated, the hero of the time-stopped world difficulty level undetermined. The mission's goal includes you have made up your mind. You will not accept anyone having to sacrifice. And you don't need those you saved to repay you. You don't seek recognition from those you've saved. That is the essence of self-sacrifice. The one who sacrifices for others is a true hero. Oh, hero, the people of the 6 realms still do not know this definition. They still haven't realized your noble gestures of self-sacrifice, but if definitions remain just definitions, then self-sacrifice will always just be self-sacrifice. So will you still become a hero in the time-stopped world? The Demon King was injured and fled. He hasn't gone far. As long as you want, you can hunt him down for as long as you like. Then there's a choice for Gong. Will you accept this mission? You didn't hesitate at all and immediately agreed as the hidden mission was activated. Your body gradually faded into the dim light as the teleportation began to activate. The one performing it was the champion of the world, where time stood still accompanied by a wish of good luck. The system appeared searching for the existence of the Demon King on level 12. The Demon King was not detected, and then it was announced that the Demon King had retreated, allowing the sky to gradually return to its original blue appearance with the 3 of them, Gong, the Dark Sorcerer, and Marcus. Together they looked up at the floating words in the sky that changed history. She gazed at the tiny, sparkling dots drifting around her in surprise and turned to ask Kim Gong, "What's going on here? You're surprised too, huh? This is the first time I've seen something like this." The old sorcerer disagreed, saying it was also the first time he had witnessed such a thing. "What on earth is this?" Gong's gaze suddenly shifted elsewhere, filled with confusion. Both of them looked towards the large city gate, and he spoke up, "Dark Dragon Master, look. The old city wall is adorned with bright red flags. They are the symbols of a nation. Where have all the flags gone? Now it's desolate and empty under the blue sky. You're right. Where have the flags disappeared to?" She insisted they must go check to see what was happening. He immediately received her support, and their hands clasped tightly together as they shouted, "Teleport." Moments later, they found themselves atop the city wall. The gloomy scene of the town from that day flashed in their minds, with only a few townsfolk passing by, carrying an indescribable sadness. Now everything had completely changed. The houses were renovated and much more splendid. It was as if they had donned a new appearance. Gong exclaimed in astonishment, "History has changed. The soldiers who used to slump on the ground have now transformed into young men. Wearing armor they were idly guarding, but eating and sleeping were their main priorities." They were astonished. History had indeed changed. The Dark Sorcerer analyzed thoroughly that the empire which had been invaded by the Demon King had not been conquered regardless of whether he won or lost. The fact that this place was not invaded had become history. He posed a question to himself, unable to hide a satisfied smile this time. So the world was not invaded by the Demon King. The system continuously announced that missions for levels 11 and 12 had been modified, and he pondered silently. No one could know. When did everything change? Gong confidently asserted that history had changed, all thanks to him returning to a time before history had altered. People were even seeking peace from that toxic liquid. "What is this rain? Acid rain? Wow, it looks so sparkling. It's beautiful compared to this dilapidated city." The current scene had completely donned a bright appearance with a man selling apples. Buy some early brand apples here. Each historical milestone had been altered. The hospital in District 3 had been locked down due to 10 suspected cases of COVID-19, which was concerning. The positive cases were just from a small group of patients. Witnessing such overwhelming changes, he smiled gently as the news report continued to broadcast steadily. However, Vietnam still showed determination to defeat COVID-19, asserting its undeniable sovereignty over the Paracel and Spratly Islands, as well as the legitimacy of the war. Helping the Cambodian people escape from the Khmer Rouge genocide, suddenly a loud shout came from over there. Savas continuously questioned the two of them. "Who are you?" Behind him were two soldiers accompanying him. He raised his voice. "How dare you step on the Empire's ramparts? Come down here. Show me the images from the previous timeline." Suddenly he recalled a moment when he stood with his sword raised, praying earnestly, "Please save our empire." He quickly recognized the identity of the opponent. Savas, confused, asked back, "Huh?" The man spoke each word with anger. "You thieving scoundrel, how do you know my name?" Ignoring the harsh words from him, he sank into his own thoughts, realizing it was so. "You keep shouting at the top of your lungs, but those bastards can't hear what I'm saying. Get down here now." Only now do I realize that he was once a friendly imperial citizen on the 11th floor, but now he's just a man who loves to shout at others. Looking back at your former self, you once desperately pleaded, "Please save our empire," and suddenly a mischievous smile crept onto your lips as you raised your voice. "Ha ha ha ha!" It left you stunned. The booming laughter of the Gong family made even the dark sorceress beside you flinch. "Ha ha ha ha!" The old elf shot you a scrutinizing glance. The sound grew more intense. "A ha ha ha!" You bent down, making your expression unclear, the sounds gradually fading. "Ha ha ha!" Then suddenly you lifted your head and declared clearly. Savas stood below, listening to every word, having protected your empire. The other soldiers watched as the corners of Gong's mouth curled into a refreshing smile from the bottom of his heart. You kept your promise, and the citizens of the empire were unconsciously drawn to you, proud of yourself after hundreds of days while the high-ranking officials inside the church were discussing matters. They had to perk up their ears a bit, regretting that no one should have to sacrifice. I had to endure for hundreds of days, and finally I pushed them back. The Demon King's ink-stained hands gripped the railing tightly, a clear testament to all the invisible efforts. "I'm so proud that I've done it." Gong reminisced about his past living like a pile of trash, only knowing how to mock and envy others day after day, filled with nothing but alcohol and news on the screen. "I want to become the Fire King." Thinking of that disheveled appearance back then, my heart turned cold. I had given up on this life. The fateful moment came when no one expected it. The mission notification system announced that the task had been completed. Your heart is now filled with satisfaction, and today you can hold your head high. You continued looking at your companions along with the Black Dragon Lord. "And the Holy Sword, I have saved this world." The official status update: the mission on the 12th floor has been completed. You confidently believe that today you can hold your head high, and then countless different screens popped up, ranking the accomplishments, announcing the top 3 contributors. In first place is the Death King. Second is the Black Dragon Lord, and third is the Holy Sword, the results they achieved. It's the peaceful life of the urban area right here. Savas frowned in confusion. "What are you talking about?" Suddenly, the other party shouted your name, Savas Ikim, making you jump, and Gong waved happily. "The Empire relies on you." You continued to explain amidst the skepticism of Savas and the soldiers. "Sorry, but my role as a hero ends here. I'll still be somewhere in your empire." The more you spoke, the more excited you became, but from now on, you all have to take care of yourselves. "Go for it! Go for it!" The old elf beside you laughed loudly, "Ha ha ha," flipping around in midair. "Ha ha ha, I thought you had matured. Who knew you'd start boasting about yourself again?" You just covered your face and laughed, then turned to him confidently, even striking a pose as you tossed your hair, looking incredibly carefree. "What can I say? I'm just really loving life today." The old elf couldn't help but laugh so hard he almost fainted. "Crazy zombie, I get it. Anyway, it doesn't affect me at all. Ha ha ha." Ignoring the madness of the other Gong, shifted his attention elsewhere, extending his hand, hoping the other would continue to accompany him. "Come on, Black Dragon Lord, let's head to the 13th floor. Little did they know that the earlier scene made the Dark Sorcerer reconsider that those hunters were not ordinary people, but rather high-ranking ones. "I understand it's hard for you to grasp, but the system notification says you're moving to the 13th floor. Welcome to the 13th floor, 3 people from Gong." The Dark Sorcerer and Marcus just teleported to the necessary location and immediately saw them. The Demon King roared in rage, unable to tolerate, "How dare you touch my children, you bunch of... Are you messing with me? Do you want to take away my life, my blood, and my soul?" The pressure radiating was no joke. His voice was filled with resentment towards mortals. "I curse you all, Marcus, be careful." His scream was terrifying. It was the first time I heard such a sound. The Dark Sorcerer agreed, "Yes, indeed. What on earth could cause such despair?" Gong's expression was a bit tense, and someone questioned, "Hey, what's up with that old elf?" tilting his head in curiosity. "What's wrong with that guy?" It seemed only he sensed the difference. "He seemed weaker than before. The new information surprised you." "What?" He placed his hand under his chin, pondering. Earlier, he took a heavy hit from the Dark Dragon Lord. But it shouldn't be to this extent. Then came a series of sharp analyses as if he had been downgraded. At level 12, his rank was that of a great king, SSS, level a black sludge entity invading the top of a building. The aura emanating was terrifying, yet the reality was completely different. He was no longer like that. Now he was only at the level of a great king you encountered on the 5th floor. You kept asking yourself how strange. Normally, the higher you go in the tower, the stronger the boss should be. Could it be that the previous attack from the Dark Dragon Lord had some effect? While listening to those words, Gong was deep in thought. Something was off. An unexpected change had occurred. The system announced that rewards for completing level 12 were being distributed. All rewards would be given upon completing level 19. You were astonished to see the brilliant, glowing object in your hand. Right now, you could only receive the reward of a potion along with a series of newly updated statuses. You have been blessed, and the Divine Protection map from level 11 to level 20 has been unlocked, making Gong overwhelmed with the world map. Marcus and the Dark Sorcerer were drawn by your sudden loud shout. "I know," Gong confidently asserted. "I understand why the Demon King is like this." Dark Dragon Lord, remember what happened on the previous floors. You recalled the scene of the town after the transformation they witnessed from above, the history erased by the Demon King's invasion without a trace. The refugee village was also no longer on the map. The red dots spread across the continent while the green dots appeared densely but in fewer numbers. Think about where the refugees came from. Could it be the people from the entire empire of the Great Six? You immediately pointed this out. But in reality, that refugee village had vanished without a trace. She nodded in agreement. Exactly. From this, it can be inferred that not only the Empire's history, but the entire Great Six has changed. Gong concluded, "That's right. It could also be said that we have returned to the time before the Demon King invaded the 6th realm, and right now the God of Lightning is under attack while the Demon King is still howling in pain." The old elf who was eavesdropping on their conversation was surprised and exclaimed, "Eh?" His expression suddenly changed. "The coldness of a hunter like us can be heard every time we level up. Your existence has become clearer. A hand rests lightly on the hilt of the sword. We can understand that this statement has leveled up the hunter's existence that the tower mentioned. What does it even mean? Are you saying that just to sound cool, the only connection is the Demon King, the entity they once faced, a powerful boss monster that gained strength by killing countless civilians? The Empire and the refugees, yet the slaughter and hunting have never been a system. The Demon King is furious. His existence has become vague. You conclude that this also means his growth has been erased, meaning his existence has become even more obscure. He clutched his head, wailing in despair. Ah! The Demon King was furious with every word. After discussing, everyone shouted in unison, "Let's fight! The moment of counterattack has come." The Demon King continuously summoned his monsters, "O spirits of 100 demons, O myriad fiends!" Most of them wore clothing resembling living humans, but their skin had transformed. "My children!" he declared loudly. "Kill them!" The Dark Sorceress conjured dark powers, cursing, "I've hated zombie movies since long ago." Marcus raised his sword high, and while fighting fiercely, he suddenly said, "How about a bet sword, Emperor?" This was meant to convey to the old elf hovering in the air. "How many more times will I have to die to clear level 19 inches? He stroked his chin, looking amused. Then he estimated, "Okay, I bet under 100 times." You smiled smugly. "Oh, then I'll bet under 99 times," he retorted. "What a dirty play." The old elf didn't hesitate to challenge the young man. "Let's see how you slice your own kind, zombie. Since we made a bet, I won't help you this time. Okay." A horde of monsters slowly approached you. You didn't need to think twice and agreed to the deal. "Okay?" The familiar words appeared again. "You have died. You will return 24 hours ago.